Hello everyone and welcome into the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Today we come to you live from Consol Energy Park in Washington, Pennsylvania as your Washington Wild Things take on the Southern Illinois Miners in Game 3 of their 3-game series. Hi everyone, I'm Zach Ziegler taking you through the entire 2016 season for your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things have lost the first 2 games to the Southern Illinois Miners here in Washington, looking to salvage at least one of these 3 games this afternoon. 6:05 first pitch because of Faith and Freedom Night. Had some speeches before the game that pushed it back the start time 1 hour. So 6:05, we're going to get underway here from Consol Energy Park. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. Coming up, we're going to have a recap of last night's 4-3 loss. Also a sit-down with Wild Things outfielder Grant Fink. Also take a look at lineups and the pitching matchup. It's all coming up right here on the MSA Sports Network. Last night, as we said, the Wild Things unfortunately losing 4-3 to the Southern Illinois Miners, and Southern Illinois took an early lead in this one. Aaron Gates, the second pitch of the game, he took over the right field wall, his 6th home run of the season, and that gave Southern Illinois a 1-0 lead. Nolan Early followed that up with a single before Craig Massey into a fielder's choice. Alex De Leon and Vin Galletti both struck out to end the inning. Your Washington Wild Things would respond in the bottom half of the first as Jamadric Magruder struck out, Ricky Rodriguez flew out, and then Chris Grayson a solo shot over the left field wall. Grayson's first home run of the 2016 season, and that tied the score at 1. Dave Popkins followed up with a single, and then Jimmy Yezzo struck out to end the inning. Wild Things responded again in the bottom of the second. Grant Fink struck out to start things, then Logan Uxta lined out before Kyle Pollock hit his first home run of the season, his over the left field wall as well, and that gave the Wild Things a 2-1 lead over the Southern Illinois Miners. Austin Wobrock would ground out to end the inning. Southern Illinois responded in the top of inning number 5 as it all started with a ground out by Steve Marino. Then Edison Sanchez would walk. Francisco Rosario would single, so there'd be runners at first and second with 1 away before Aaron Gates hit into a fielder's choice on a very nice play by Jamadric Magruder. Magruder made a diving stop and just did get the out at second base for out number 2 in the inning. However, Nolan Early came up with runners at first and third and 2 outs and came through with an RBI single for Early. It was RBI, It was RBI number 32 on the year for Nolan Early, driving in Edison Sanchez, and it tied the game at 2. Craig Massey would fly out to end that inning. Then the Washington Wild Things would take the lead in the bottom of the 7th. Grant Fink came through, and the first pitch he saw, he took over the left field wall, a solo home run, his 4th home run of the year, and that gave the Wild Things a 3-2 lead. Logan Uxta would strike out, Kyle Pollock would fly out, and Austin Wobrock would ground out to end the inning. Then in the top of the 8th, Trevor Foss ended up falling apart. Aaron Gates walked to start things, or singled to start things. Then Nolan Early grounded out before Craig Massey came through with an RBI double, scoring Gates and tying the game at 3. Then Alex De Leon, next batter, hit a RBI double of his own, scoring Craig Massey and giving the Southern Illinois Miners a 4-3 lead. That would be all for Trevor Foss on the night. Foss's final line, he went 7 1/3, giving up 4 runs, all earned on 8 hits, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts for the Wild Things right-hander through 100 pitches on the day. Then the final line for Dan Ludwig. Ludwig went 7, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 6 hits, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. Ludwig threw 89 pitches, and he was very good last night. He had his breaking ball working, had a good curveball that went into the dirt, and made a lot of Wild Things hitters swing and miss early and often. Ludwig was good. Foss was also good. It was a very close game. Zach Groats coming in the top of the 8th to finish the inning. Groats got Vin Galletti to line out and Steve Marino to strike out. Then in the bottom of the 8th, the Wild Things going against reliever Chris DeBoo. Saw DeBoo on Friday night, and against DeBoo, Jamadric Magruder grounded out, Ricky Rodriguez flew out, and then Dave Popkins came through with a double Chris Grayson came through with a double, and then Dave Popkins flew out to end the inning. DeBoo a scoreless inning, throwing 8 pitches and allowing just 1 hit in the inning. Then in the bottom of the 9th, the Wild Things tried to fight back against reliever Adam Lopez as Jimmy Yezzo walked to start things. Then Grant Fink struck out, Logan Uxta grounded out with Yezzo going to second base. Andrew Heck came in to pinch run. Then Kyle Pollock walked, and a wild pitch would move runners up to second and third with 2 men out before Austin Wobrock grounded out to end the game. Lopez a scoreless inning, walking 2 and picking up his 3rd save of the season. The win went to Dan Ludwig. Ludwig improved to 7-1, and the loss went to Trevor Foss. Foss fell to 7-3 on the season. Foss's ERA currently sits at 2.53 on the season after last night's start. So the Wild Things losing game 2 of this 3-game series. Southern Illinois Miners have the series win right now. The Wild Things will look to avoid getting swept this afternoon. We're going to take our first break here on the Washington Wild Things pregame show. When we come back, we're going to have our sit-down with Wild Things outfielder Grant Fink. Fink hitting his 4th home run of the season in last night's game. Gave the Wild Things the lead at that point. However, the Wild Things not able to hold on to that lead as they lost by the final score of 4-3. So our sit-down with Grant Fink coming up. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show right here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network. You're listening to the Washington Wild Things pregame show. Currently joined by Wild Things outfielder Grant Fink. And Grant, you hit your 4th home run of the season last night. What was it like getting that 4th home run? It gave you guys a lead at that point. Can you talk a little bit about the approach of that bat and what you were looking for?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the guy had been pitching pretty well all night, and he left the pitch up finally, and I was able to take advantage of it and give us a chance to win. It was a bummer we couldn't close out there and get that win, but we got another game tonight come at him.
And at that point, what were your emotions when you saw that ball go over the wall? You had a 2-2 tie. You said it gave your team the lead. What were you thinking when you saw that ball go over?
Oh, I was excited to, get the lead late in the game. Anytime you get a shot to do that, it makes the game pretty interesting to finish.
And you guys faced 2 really tough pitchers, Dylan Nuremberg on Friday and Dan Ludwig last night. You have another good one on the mound tonight in Rick Teasley. What's it like going against this tough pitching staff for Southern Illinois?
Oh, yeah, they got some good arms, but we got a pretty good lineup, and we're really starting to kind of come into our own right now. So I'm excited to just see how it plays out over the next few weeks.
And coming in, you have the next series against River City, this series against Southern Illinois. You really haven't seen either of these teams yet this year. What goes into your preparation when you're facing a team that you haven't yet seen this year?
Just sticking to the process of what we've been doing, staying under our control and kind of not looking too far forward and just kind of taking care of the things we can.
And you guys have Chase Cunningham on the hill tonight. Cunningham gets a lot of ground balls, so you're out in the outfield. How do you keep yourself focused on the game with all those ground balls happening?
The one thing about him is he pitches quick, so, the lineups or the innings are changing pretty quick. So it's pretty easy to just, keep focused out there and get ready to hit when we kind of get our chance.
And finally, can you give us some keys to victory for tonight's game, Game 3 against Southern Illinois?
I'd say staying within ourselves and just, trusting in the process of what we've been working on and keeping the energy high.
Thanks, Grant. Good luck today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
We'll be right back here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, getting you ready for Game 3 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Faith and Freedom Night here at Consol Energy Park. Lots of church groups in attendance tonight. Had some speeches before the game. A very enlightening night as first pitch is at 6:05 this evening. Lineup cards were just exchanged on the field. So right now we're going to take a look at the lineups for both of these teams going into today's game. First, for the visiting Southern Illinois Miners, they have a record of 36-17, led by their manager Mike Pinto. They'll lead off with their center fielder Aaron Gates, batting second in left field. Shane Kennedy hitting third. Second baseman Craig Massey. Batting fourth at first base, Alex DeLeon. Batting fifth in right field, Nolan Early. Hitting sixth and playing at third base, Steve Marino. Batting 7th behind the plate, Riley Moore. Hitting 8th, the designated hitter, Edison Sanchez. And batting 9th at shortstop, Francisco Rosario. On the mound for the Southern Illinois Miners, starting pitcher Jarrett Miller. Miller 3-2 with a 2.94 ERA. Once again, that lineup: Gates, Kennedy, Massey, De Leon, Early, Marino, Moore, Sanchez, and Rosario, with Miller on the mound. For your home Washington Wild Things, they entered this one with a record of 27-24. They're led by their manager, Greg Langben. They'll lead off with their second baseman, Jamadric Magruder. Batting second at third base, Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third in center field, Chris Grayson. Batting fourth, the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Batting fifth, designated hitter, Logan Uxa. Batting sixth in left field, Grant Fink. Hitting seventh at first base, Jimmy Yezzo. Batting eighth behind the plate, Kyle Pollock. And batting ninth at shortstop is Austin Wobrock. On the mound for your Washington Wild Things is right-hander Chase Cunningham. Cunningham enters this one with a record of 3-4 and a 2.88 ERA. Just about ready for baseball here at Consol Energy Park. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we're going to have the national anthem, lineups, and first pitch. It's right here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Game 3 of 3 between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Wild Things currently taking the field right now. Prior to the national anthem, I'm going to send you down to the field for that national anthem here in just a couple of minutes. Today's pitching matchup, Jarrett Miller for the Southern Illinois Miners taking on Chase Cunningham. Cunningham, you'll see lots of ground balls, works very quickly. He uses fastball, sinker, changeup, and if you're an infielder when Cunningham's on the mound, you better be ready. Jarrett Miller's been very good this year for Southern Illinois. Has a very good curveball when it's on, and he can make you look silly at the plate. So good pitching matchup. Right now, going to take you down to the field for the national anthem here at Consol Energy Park. And PA announcer Bill DeFabio. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
We ask you to please remove your caps. All join in tonight performing the national anthem. Let's welcome the West Newton Presbyterian Church.
Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School, lead don't follow.
We're back on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, officially ready for baseball here on Game 3 of this 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. The Wild Things take the field like this. In the outfield left to right, it's Grant Fink, Chris Grayson, and Dave Popkins. Left side of the infield held down by Ricky Rodriguez and Austin Wobrock. Right side by Jamadrick Magruder and Jimmy Yezzo. And behind the plate, Kyle Pollock catching today's starter, Chase Cunningham. Cunningham enters this one with a record of 3-4, a 2.88 ERA, appearing in his 10th game, making his 10th start of the season. Has thrown 53 innings of work, giving up 18 runs, 17 earned on 45 hits, 23 strikeouts, and 11 walks on the season. The lineup Cunningham will face today looks like this. Southern Illinois leads off with their center fielder, Aaron Gates. Batting second in left field, Shane Kennedy. Hitting third at second base, Craig Massey. Batting fourth at first, Alex De Leon. Batting fifth in right field, Nolan Early. Batting sixth at third base, Steve Marino. Hitting seventh and catching, Riley Moore. Batting eighth, designated hitter Edison Sanchez. And batting ninth at shortstop is Francisco Rosario. The Wild Things have unfortunately lost the first 2 games of this series, but looking to bounce back in tonight's game against the Southern Illinois Miners, salvage 1 game of this 3-game series. Cunningham done with warm-up tosses. Aaron Gates coming to the plate, and we are just about ready for baseball here at Consol Energy Park. Game 3 of this 3-game series, your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Wild Things enter the day currently second place in the Frontier League East, while the Southern Illinois Miners enter the day currently in first in the Frontier League West. Aaron Gates making his way to the plate. Gates enters today hitting .318, 6 home runs, and 32 RBIs. Facing off against Chase Cunningham. Cunningham looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's way outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Aaron Gates for Chase Cunningham. Likes to keep the ball in the zone and will work very quickly on the mound. He's set in the 1-0. And that one's in there for a strike. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count with Chase Cunningham. You're going to see a lot of ground balls today. So if you're an infielder, you got to be ready. He likes to work the fastball, changeup, sinker. Here's the 1-1. And this one swung on and fouled off the mask of Kyle Pollock. Pollock takes his throw mask off, and he's kind of shaken up behind the plate. Still in that crouch, however, stretching things out. And the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. Aaron Gates led off yesterday's ball game with his 6th home run of the year, a solo shot, helping the Southern Illinois Miners to jump out in front early. The Wild Things would eventually take the lead in the game, but could not hold it as they fell by the score of 4-3. Gates stepping back in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cunningham shakes off the first sign, now has one he wants. Here's the pitch. And this one hit the left field. Grant Fink moving over a couple of steps, and he will make the catch for out number 1. So 1 away here in the top of the first, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Shane Kennedy. Kennedy enters this one currently hitting .304, 2 home runs, and 16 RBIs. Actually, the first time we've seen Shane Kennedy in this series, as out in left field the first 2 games with Edison Sanchez. Sanchez in at the designated hitter spot this evening. Chase Cunningham looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Kennedy takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count of the Southern Illinois Miners left fielder with Chase Cunningham. As we said, lots of ground balls. Not going to strike out many people, as Cunningham currently has 23 strikeouts. In 53 and a third innings of 53 innings of work. So not a lot of strikeouts. This next pitch fouled away, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Shane Kennedy, the number 2 hitter in this Miners order. Nolan Early has been hitting number 2 the last couple days, down in the 5 hole today. Here's the 0-2, and this one hit to center field. Chris Grayson a couple steps over, and he'll make the catch, and that is out number 2. 2 up, 2 down for Cunningham here in the top of the first, and that brings up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey currently hitting .333, 5 home runs, and 24 RBIs. Top of the first, no score between the Southern Illinois Miners and your Washington Wild Things. Game 3 of this 3-game series. Cunningham looking to pick up his 4th win of the season, and even his record currently comes in today at 3-4. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Massey takes this one for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Craig Massey. Massey homered in Game 1 of this series. His 5th home run of the season. His first home run in over a month. Here's the pitch. And that one swung on and missed, and the count quickly goes to 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out here in the top of the first. No score between the Southern Illinois Miners and your Washington Wild Things. Cunningham set. Here's the 0-2. And that one's way inside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Craig Massey. As we said, homered in game 1 of this series. Cunningham looking to retire him here. The 1-2. And this one hit to left field. Going to foul territory. Rodriguez giving chase. And he's not going to get this one as it'll go into the stands. Foul. And the count remains 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Chase Cunningham. No complete games yet this season. Went 6 innings in a 7-inning game a couple of weeks ago. But still no complete games for Cunningham on the season. Has pitched a lot better than his 3-4 record has shown. The team has struggled at times getting him run support. At one point, he had 1 run or fewer of support in 4 straight starts. The 1-2, and that one is swung on and missed. Massey strikes out, and that will end the inning. 1-2-3 go the Miners here in the first, and after half an inning of play, the score, Southern Illinois nothing. Your Washington Wild Things coming to bat. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the first, and the score, Southern Illinois nothing, and your Washington Wild Things coming to bat. The Miners line up defensively like this in the outfield left to right. Shane Kennedy, Aaron Gates, and Nolan Early. Left side of the infield held down by Steve Marino and Francisco Rosario. Right side held down by Craig Massey and Alex De Leon. Behind the plate, Riley Moore. Catching today's starter, Jarrett Miller. Miller enters this one with a record of 3-2, a 2.94 ERA, appearing in his 12th game, making his 12th start, has thrown 67 and a third innings, giving up 24 runs, 22 earned on 67 hits, 49 strikeouts, and 22 walks on the season. The lineup he'll face for your Wild Things looks like this. They'll lead off with their second baseman, Jamadric Magruder. Batting second and third base, Ricky Rodriguez. Hitting third and center field, Chris Grayson. Batting fourth and right, Dave Popkins. Hitting fifth, designated hitter Logan Uxa. Batting sixth and left, Grant Fink. Hitting seventh at first base, Jimmy Yezzo. Batting eighth behind the plate, Kyle Pollock. And batting ninth at shortstop, Austin Wobrock. On the mound for your Wild Things, as you saw, is Chase Cunningham, record of 3-4 and a 2.88 ERA entering play today. Ready for baseball here in the home half of the first as Jamadric Magruder will make his way to the plate. Magruder hitting .357, no home runs, and 1 RBI, playing in his 5th game as a Washington Wild Thing. 1-2-3, the Miners went in top of the first. See if the Wild Things can get on the board here in the bottom half of the first inning, facing Jarrett Miller, a very tough task. Miller, a very good pitcher. Last time out, gave up 3 runs in 6 innings of work against River City. That first pitch is on the outside corner for a strike to Magruder. No balls and a strike. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign in the 0-1. And Magruder fouls this one off, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Jamadric Magruder. Struck out twice in yesterday's ball game, looking to get back on track offensively today. Through his first 4 games as the team's highest batting average, hitting .357. Here's Miller's 0-2. And Magruder, a ground ball, softly hit to the right side. De Leon will handle it and take it to the bag himself for out number 1. So 1 up, 1 down for your Wild Things in the bottom of the first. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez currently hitting .303, 5 home runs, and 20 RBIs. 1 out, bottom of the first, no score between the Southern Illinois Miners and your Washington Wild Things. Rodriguez, 1 of 4 Washington Wild Things All-Stars at the plate. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, the pitch. And Rodriguez takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. Jarrett Miller, a guy, again, who will pound the strike zone. We've seen that a lot from these Southern Illinois Miners pitchers. Nuremberg and Ludwig have done it the last couple nights as Rodriguez fouls this one off, and the count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ricky Rodriguez played in the All-Star game on Wednesday night, went 1 for 2 in that game in Florence, Kentucky for the East Division. Jarrett Miller looks in. Here's the 1-1. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count for Jarrett Miller. Currently 22 walks and 49 strikeouts in 67 and a third innings of work. And when his curveball's on, it is really on. Rodriguez hitting this one to left field. Shane Kennedy going back, and he'll make the catch, and that is out number 2. So 2 up, 2 down for the Wild Things, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far on the year for the Wild Things, currently hitting .290, a homer, and 4 RBIs. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. No score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. And that's what I was saying. Jarrett Miller, a very good curveball. Talking to Jason Garrett of the Miners, the Southern Illinois announcer, he said when it's on, it's a major league type curveball. So a very good curveball from Jarrett Miller. Hopefully the Wild Things can handle it today. Miller looking in, has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Grayson takes this one for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Chris Grayson, and his first Wild Things home run in the first inning of last night's ball game. The 1-0, and that one's outside as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on the number 3 hitter in the Wild Things order. Grayson's occupied that spot ever since joining the Wild Things a week ago. Here's the 2-0, and this one grounded towards second. Craig Massey has it. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Wild Things in the first, and after 1 inning of play, the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, Southern Illinois Miners nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the second. And the score, your Washington Wild Things nothing, Southern Illinois Miners nothing. Last inning for Cunningham, a 1-2-3 inning. Got Aaron Gates to fly out. Shane Kennedy flew out as well. And Craig Massey struck out to end the inning. Due up here to face him in the second, Alex De Leon, Nolan Early, and Steve Marino. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters. Cunningham a very efficient first inning, throwing just 12 pitches to get through the first 3 batters of this ball game. And hey fans, every Thursday night game during the 2016 season is Thirsty Thursday at Consol Energy Park, and it's all being brought to you by Frankie I's Bar and Grill, located by the Meadows Casino on Route 19. Join them to enjoy food and drink specials after the game, and don't forget Thursday's features Buck Beverages, both beer and soda, for just $1. Next Thirsty Thursday game is this Thursday. It'll be game 3 of the 3-game series between your Washington Wild Things and the River City Rascals. Come out for tickets, www.washingtonwildthings.com, or call the box office at 866-456-WILD. Cunningham has concluded his warm-up tosses here in the second, and coming in to start this second inning is first baseman Alex De Leon. De Leon enters this one with an average of .292, 8 home runs, and 42 RBIs. His 8 home runs are good for second on this Southern Illinois Miners team. Chase Cunningham looking into Kyle Pollock. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in the dirt, blocked by Pollock behind the plate. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count. Chase Cunningham, as we said, likes to work low in the zone against these hitters. Gets a lot of ground balls. We saw 2 flyouts in that first inning, but uncharacteristic, as Cunningham usually a low worker in the zone. That one low as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count. Cunningham, so far in those 53 innings of work, does have 11 walks, so does not walk many batters, only 23 strikeouts as well, so not a lot of strikeouts either. A check swing by De Leon. Did he go around? Yes, says the on-base umpire Jim Scaley, and the count goes to 2-1. With that, a look at the umpires for today's game. Behind home plate, Ron Whitting Sr., and on the base paths will be Jim Scaley. Coaching on the bases for the Southern Illinois Miners. At third base, Mike Pinto, and at first base is a rotation of different players. Cunningham has his sign, the 2-1. And this one grounded foul. Count to go even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 count to Alex De Leon. De Leon drove in one of his team's 4 runs last night. Gave his team the lead, the 4-3 lead, after the RBI double in inning number 8 in last night's ball game. 2 balls, 2 strikes, the count on De Leon here. Chase Cunningham has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2 pitch. And that one's in the dirt as well, so the count will go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Nolan Early, the on-deck hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Miners looking for their first hit here in the top of the second. Cunningham shakes off the first sign. Now here's his 3-2 pitch. And that one's high, ball 4. So the first base runner for Southern Illinois today, a leadoff walk here in the top of the second, has a man on with nobody out. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Nolan Early. Early so far on the season, 272, 4 home runs, and 32 RBIs. Has driven in a run in each of the first 2 games here against the Washington Wild Things. Nobody out top of the second, no score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Alex De Leon on at first after a leadoff walk. Cunningham checks him over there, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch on the way. And this one's in there for a strike to Nolan Early, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Early was actually ejected from game 1 of this series as he argued a very close play at first base, got ejected, and then last night stayed in the game and drove in one of his team's 4 runs. Throw over to first, and Alex De Leon back in there at first base. For De Leon on the season, does not have a stolen base yet in 51 games played, so not a major threat to take off, but still worth taking a look at. Cunningham, another quick throw over there, and again, De Leon back. De Leon not taking much of a lead at first base, staying pretty close to the bag. Jimmy Yezzo holding him on over there at first. Cunningham checks Pollock. Checks over De Leon, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-1. And this ball popped up on the infield. Ricky Rodriguez back behind the third base bag. He'll call for it, and he'll make the catch for out number 1. That's the first out here in the top of the second, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino on the year currently is, hitting .304, 11 home runs and 46 RBIs. His 11 home runs and 46 RBIs, good for first on the team in both of those categories this season. Marino having a breakout year for Southern Illinois, career highs in home runs and RBIs already in this halfway point of the season. Cunningham checks first. Here's the pitch. And this one grounded to the right side, and that's a base hit. The first hit for Southern Illinois as that one sneaks into right field. There are now runners at first and second with 1 man out, and that'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore on the season is currently hitting .348, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs. Leads the team with that .348 average. Actually, the backup catcher for the Southern Illinois Miners, starting catcher Tony DeMello, is on the disabled list. So Riley Moore, the primary catcher for the Southern Illinois Miners, with Alex De Leon being the backup option behind the plate. Cunningham looking into Kyle Pollock. Cunningham has his sign, checks De Leon at second, and the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike on the outside corner, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Riley Moore. No score here in the top of the second, 1 man out. 2 men on. Alex De Leon stands at second after he walked to lead off the inning, and a single by Steve Marino has him at first base. Cunningham has his sign. He's set. Checks De Leon at second, the 0-1. And that one's high for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Pollock jumping out of the crouch, trying to see if anything's going on there, and nobody ends up moving. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Righty Chase Cunningham on the hill. Ground ball will be very nice for Cunningham here. He's gotten a lot of those this season. See if he can come through here with 1 out in the top of the second. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, checks second, and the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. And that one's in the dirt for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Riley Moore. Moore has caught both games for Southern Illinois to this point, being the only catcher listed on the roster. He's going to be doing a majority of the catching, while DeMello is on the disabled list. Cunningham looks into Kyle Pollock, has his sign, he's set, and the 2-1. And the broken bat liner to left field. Wobrock giving chase, and he's not going to be able to make the catch. It'll fall in front of him. So a bloop single for Riley Moore now has the bases loaded for Southern Illinois with 1 man out, and that'll bring to the plate the number 8 hitter, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez, the DH for the Miners. Sanchez comes into this one, currently hitting .300, no home runs, and 1 RBI. Edison Sanchez playing in his 7th game as a Southern Illinois Miner. Bases are full of Miners here in the top of the second with one man out. Still no score as Alex DeLeon standing on third base, Steve Marino on second, and Riley Moore over there at first with Edison Sanchez at the plate. Cunningham has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Sanchez takes high and in for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. Wild Things defensively, Rodriguez playing about halfway between the third base bag and the second base bag in terms of depth. Jimmy Yezzo went on the grass, and the middle infielders back at their normal positions. 1 ball, no strikes, outfield at about normal depth here. Cunningham has his sign, the 1-0. And a swing and a miss by Sanchez, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on the designated hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Bases full of Miners here with 1 out. Cunningham looking to get out of a jam. Cunningham has his sign, he's set, and the 1-1. And this one hitting the right field and shallow. Dave Popkins charging, he slides, and he's not going to make the catch. Coming in to score is Alex DeLeon, and the Southern Illinois Miners will take the lead here in the top of the second. It's now 1-0. An RBI single by Edison Sanchez brings in the first run. Dave Popkins charging, thought he was going to have a chance to make that catch, but unfortunately he's not able to come up with it. And the Southern Illinois Miners strike first in this one. They lead 1-0. That brings up the number 9 hitter, Francisco Rosario. Rosario on the year hitting .225, no home runs, and 11 RBIs. Top of the second, 1 man out. Southern Illinois leads 1-0. Cunningham has his sign, the pitch. And that one swung on a miss, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Francisco Rosario. Rosario has been the shortstop in all 3 games. The first 2 games, the same lineup was used by manager Mike Pinto. Today, changing it up a little bit, Edison Sanchez moving from left to DH. Here's the pitch, and that one's high for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Rosario. The other change in the lineup, Shane Kennedy coming out in left field, and Nolan Early moving from the 2nd spot down to the number 5 spot. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 1-1. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on Francisco Rosario. Rosario's been in that number 9 spot in each of these 3 games. Cunningham has his sign. Checks Marino at third, the pitch. And this one line foul off to the left. Count will go to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2, still 1 out here in the top of the second. This inning started with an Alex DeLeon walk. Then Nolan Early popped out. Steve Marino singled. Riley Moore a bloop single. And Edison Sanchez a bloop single. Currently Steve Marino on third. Riley Moore at second. Sanchez over there on first. Cunningham has his sign, the 2-2. And this one lines softly to the left side. Ricky Rodriguez going over, and he'll make the catch in foul territory for out number 2. That's the second out here in the top of the second. Bases remain loaded, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Aaron Gates. Gates 0 for 1 so far. Flew out in the first inning, and in last night's game would end up going 2 for 5. Hit a solo home run. Also singled and scored a run. Reached twice on fielder's choices, and struck out in the contest. 1-0 Southern Illinois leads here in the top of the second, courtesy of the RBI single by Edison Sanchez. Base is still full of Miners here with 2 outs. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch. And this one's in the dirt, blocked by Kyle Pollock behind the plate, and the count goes to 1-0. Pollock's been doing a nice job of blocking pitches behind the plate, especially when there's a guy at third base. He has yet to allow a pass ball with a guy at third base. And Kyle Pollock hurting after that one, kind of holding his right hand, as the ball might have got a piece of his hand. He is okay, though, as he puts the mask back on and goes back in the crouch. But as we were saying, Pollock is not allowed a runner to score via a wild pitch or a pass ball with someone at third base. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, and the 1 ball, no strike pitch. And that one's just outside for a ball. Count goes to 2-0. 2 balls, no strikes on Aaron Gates. Kyle Pollock behind the plate's caught all 3 games for the Wild Things, with Alex McKeon, the backup, on the bench. Cunningham has his sign, he's set, and the 2-0. And that one's in the dirt, blocked by Pollock as well. Count goes to 3 balls and no strikes. 3-0 the count on Aaron Gates. Cunningham in danger of walking in another run. You'd like to limit the damage and just keep it at 1 run here, but Cunningham in trouble, a 3-0 count. Here's his pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. Count goes to 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count. A 1-2-3 first inning for Chase Cunningham, but here in the second, just a couple of bad luck pitches as there was a bloop single over the head of Wobrock, a bloop single in the right field that scored the run. The only really hard hit ball was a Steve Marino ground ball through the right side. The 3-1, and that one's outside, ball 4. A walk to Aaron Gates that brings in another run for the Southern Illinois Miners as Steve Marino will walk in. And Southern Illinois now leads this one 2-0 over your Wild Things with 2 outs in the top of the second, and it brings up Shane Kennedy. Kennedy 0 for 1 in this one, flew out in his first at-bat, and Kennedy, it's actually his first appearance in this series for the Southern Illinois Miners, as we've had Edison Sanchez out there in left field. Sanchez, the designated hitter today. 2-0 Southern Illinois leads this one. A bases-loaded walk for Chase Cunningham, bringing in another run for Southern Illinois. So it's an RBI walk for Aaron Gates, one of the easiest RBIs you'll ever get for Gates. Cunningham set. Here's the pitch, and this ball lined foul off to the right. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Shane Kennedy. Chase Cunningham allows 2 runs so far here in the top of the second. We'll try to strand the bases loaded here with 2 men out. Cunningham looking into Kyle Pollock. Has his sign. He's set in the 0-1. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Shane Kennedy. Cunningham trying to get through this second inning, just allowing the 2 runs. 3 hits in the inning, 2 of those being bloop singles. Here's the 1 ball, 1 strike pitch. And this one lined up the middle, and it's a base hit. Moore comes in to score. Edison Sanchez will be waved around as well, and he will score. It's a 2 RBI single for Shane Kennedy, and now the Southern Illinois Miners lead this one 4-0. Coming in to score are both Riley Moore and Edison Sanchez. Aaron Gates moves up to third. Now there are runners at the corners with 2 outs, and that'll bring manager Greg Langban out of the dugout to have a conversation with his starting pitcher Chase Cunningham. 4 runs coming in the inning. It started with a walk by Alex DeLeon, then Nolan Early popped out. Steve Marino, the first hard hit ball of this inning, a single in the right field, but then back-to-back bloop singles, one by Riley Moore and one by Edison Sanchez. As Sanchez unfortunately had the RBI driving in Alex DeLeon. Then Francisco Rosario popped out, and with the bases loaded, Aaron Gates walked, so another run came in. It was 2-0 Miners, and now the 2 RBI single by Shane Kennedy has made this a 4-0 lead for Southern Illinois here in the top of the second. Greg Langman serving both as the team's pitching coach and manager, out there talking to Chase Cunningham, trying to calm him down here in the second inning, and now having a conversation with the home plate umpire, Ron Whitting Sr., as he's walking away from the pitcher's mound. He's upset about something, as he's talking to Ron Whitting Sr., still barking as he goes back to the Wild Things dugout. So Greg Langman returns to the dugout. 2 outs here in the top of the second. 4 runs in already in the inning, and Craig Massey, the 9th man to bat in this inning. Cunningham has his sign. Checks Gates at third in the pitch. And that one's in the dirt, and that'll get away from Pollock. Pollock gets to it quickly, and he's not going to flip in time to home plate. Aaron Gates scores, and it's now 5-0 Southern Illinois. Shane Kennedy moving up to second on the play. A wild pitch. The first run that's come in against Kyle Pollock on a wild pitch. It allows Aaron Gates to score, and Southern Illinois leads 5-0. Runner on second, 2 outs. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, and the 1-0. And that one's a called strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Craig Massey, the second baseman. Massey 0 for 1 so far. Struck out in the first inning. And in last night's game, Massey would end up going 1 for 4. RBI double, reached on a fielder's choice. Also grounded out and flew out the pitch. And that one's in the dirt, blocked by Pollock. And the count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. 2 men out here on the top of the second. 5 runs in for the Southern Illinois Miners. They lead 5-0 over your Wild Things. Cunningham looking into Kyle Pollock. Has his sign. He's set. And the 2 ball, 1 strike pitch. And this one lined over the head of Austin Wobrock for a base hit in the left. Grant Fink will throw it back in. It won't be in time. An RBI single by Craig Massey as Shane Kennedy scores, and Southern Illinois now leads it 6-0 here in the top of the second. RBI single for Craig Massey. The Miners have officially batted around, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Alex DeLeon. De Leon so far is no official at bat. Walked to start this inning. And De Leon in last night's game ended up going 2 for 4. A single, an RBI double. Also popped out and struck out in the game. Cunningham's pitch. And this one hit foul off to the right. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Alex De Leon. De Leon at first base for the Southern Illinois Miners for the third straight game. As no balls and 1 strike, the count on him here. Top of the second, 6 runs have come in for the Southern Illinois Miners against Chase Cunningham, as the Miners lead this one 6-0. The pitch, and this one popped up by De Leon at second base. Jamadrick Magruder coming in, and he will make the catch for out number 3. 6 runs come in for the Southern Illinois Miners on 5 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 1.5, the score, Southern Illinois 6, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05. First pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uxa, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Going to the bottom of the second in the score, Southern Illinois 6 and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Washington Wild Things, they went 1-2-3. Jamadrick Magruder grounded out, Ricky Rodriguez flew out, and Chris Grayson grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the second, Dave Popkins, Logan Uxa, and Grant Fink, 4, 5, and 6, facing off against Jarrett Miller. Miller just 10 pitches in that first inning as he made quick work of your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things will look to get on the board here in the second. They got a lot of work to do, down 6-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners after a big top of the second, 6 runs for the Miners. And the Wild Things have a chance to fight back now. Just got to do it little by little. Can't get all 6 runs in 1 inning. Dave Popkins coming to the plate. Popkins so far on the year for your Wild Things hitting .299, 7 home runs, and 24 RBIs. Popkins fouls this first pitch back into the seats. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Popkins' .299 average is currently good for second on the team. Second on the team. Behind Jamadrick Magruder. Miller's setting the 0-1, and that one's outside for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Dave Popkins. Popkins the cleanup man for the Wild Things, as he's been all season. Miller looks in, has his sign, the 1-1. And that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. That one in the middle of the left-handed batter's box. For Jarrett Miller on the year, currently has 49 strikeouts and 22 walks in 67 1/3 innings as Popkins swings and foul tips this next pitch. The count goes even at 2-2. So not going to walk many people, 22 and 67 1/3. Good strikeout rate with 49 strikeouts in those 67 1/3 innings. Jarrett Miller shakes off the next sign. He's setting the 2-2. And that one's way outside. Count goes full of 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count here on Dave Popkins. For Jarrett Miller, he has faced the Wild Things twice. Once was a very good start, and the other was a very bad start. Here's the 3-2, and that one's high, ball 4. So Dave Popkins walks to lead off the the bottom of the second, and there's a runner at first, nobody out for the designated hitter, Logan Uxa. Uxa on the year currently hitting .291, 3 home runs, and 9 RBIs. Uxa's .291 average, good for third on the team behind Popkins and Magruder. Nobody out here in the bottom of the second. 6-0 Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things. Wild Things have a runner at first with nobody out. The pitch, and Uxa, slow roll to the right side. De Leon dives. He can't get it. Fielded by Massey. He'll get Popkins at second, but that is the only out they'll get. So fielder's choice 4-6 on the putout. Logan Uxa reaches base. Dave Popkins is retired. And there's one out here in the bottom of the second. That'll bring up the left fielder, Grant Fink. Fink on the year hitting .212, 4 home runs, and 12 RBIs. Hit his 4th home run of the season in last night's game. Gave the Wild Things the lead at that point as the Wild Things led 3-2 over the Miners before eventually falling as the Miners would score 2 runs in the ninth to take a 4-3 lead and would hold that lead for the rest of the game. Jarrett Miller looks in, checks Uxa at first. Here's the pitch. And Fink fouls this one off back to the screen. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Logan Uxa. Grant Fink. Uxa over there at first. Uxa on the year. No stolen bases for your Washington Wild Things. Joined the Wild Things in the beginning of June. Jarrett Miller has his sign. Checks Uxa at first. And the 0-1. And that one's in there for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Grant Fink. Fink getting his 2nd consecutive start out there in left field. Joined us on the pregame show. Very kind of him to join us. Like to thank him for doing that. Jarrett Miller looking into Riley Moore. Miller looks over to Uxa at first. Has his sign. And the 0-2. And Fink takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Grant Fink. Fink out in left field as we said. This season's actually his first season ever playing in the outfield, as he had never played outfield before this season, so it's a new adventure for him, and he says he's getting comfortable out there as we get farther into the year. Miller setting the pitch, and that one's outside. Count will go even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count here on Grant Fink. Wild Things have put hits together in this series, but just haven't been good with runners on base. They have to start coming through with guys on base and get some run opportunities. Throw over to first, and Uxa gets back in there. Uxa not a very big lead over there at first base. A normal-sized lead. Nothing too shallow, nothing too big. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 man out. Jarrett Miller has his sign. He's set, and the 2-2 pitch. And Fink takes this one outside. Count goes full to 3-2. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Jimmy Yezzo, the on-deck batter for your Washington Wild Things. Grant Fink facing a full count here against Jared Miller with a runner at first and 1 man out. Uxa over there at first reached on a fielder's choice. Miller has his sign, the 3-2, and Fink hits this one to left field. Kennedy going over a couple of steps, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. There are 2 away here in the bottom of the second for your Wild Things, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo on the year, currently hitting .216, 8 home runs, and 26 RBIs. His 8 home runs, good for the team lead in that category. Also leads the team with 26 RBIs. Runner at first, 2 men out here in the bottom of the second. 6-0, the Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things. All 6 runs charged to Chase Cunningham. Miller has his sign. He's setting the pitch, and Yezzo takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things first baseman. Yezzo getting the start out there today. He started at first base in game 1 of this series, was the designated hitter for last night's ball game. Miller has his sign, the 0-1, and Yezzo takes this one for a strike on the inside corner, so the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. 2 outs here for Consol Energy Park. Very sunny Sunday evening. Miller has his sign. He's set in the 0-2. And a swing and a ground ball to short. Rosario has it. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 3. No runs in the inning, no hits, no errors, and a man left on base. And after 2, the score, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the third, and the Southern Illinois Miners lead your Washington Wild Things by a score of 6-0. A big inning for Southern Illinois last inning as Alex De Leon started things off with a walk. Then Nolan Early popped out for the first out of the inning. Steve Marino would single. There'd be runners at first and second with one man out. Then Riley Moore, a bloop single over the head of Austin Wolbrock, loaded the bases with one man out before Edison Sanchez came through and hit a bloop single into right field in front of Dave Popkins, scoring the first run of the game for Southern Illinois as Alex De Leon came in to score, and Southern Illinois led it 1-0. Then Francisco Rosario popped out for the second out of the inning, and Aaron Gates came up and came through with an RBI walk. As bases loaded walk scored Steve Marino, made it 2-0 Southern Illinois. Next batter, Shane Kennedy, hit a 2 RBI single up the middle, scoring both Moore and Sanchez. That made it 4-0 Southern Illinois. Then Craig Massey delivered an RBI single of his own after Aaron Gates scored on a wild pitch. And that RBI single brought in Shane Kennedy, and the score went to 6-0. Alex De Leon would pop out to end the inning. Due up here in the third for Southern Illinois, Nolan Early, Steve Marino, and Riley Moore, 5, 6, and 7, as Chase Cunningham trying to rebound here in inning number 3 after a rough second inning. Now, Cunningham, his last time out, faced the Joliet Slammers on July 6th. Had a rough first inning, gave up 3 runs, but his total 6 innings, 3 runs, all earned on 4 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts in a win. He improved to 3-4 on the season in that game. See if his offense can pick him up today, and if he can settle down in this one. Making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the third is right fielder Nolan Early. Early so far 0 for 1. Popped out in his first time. In last night's game, Early would go 2 for 4. An RBI single, a regular single, a pop out, and a ground out. And the first pitch is grounded towards the middle. Wolbrock gets to it, throw on to first, and it's in time for out number 1. 1 pitch and 1 away for Chase Cunningham here in the top of the third. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino singled and scored his first time around. And in last night's ball game, Marino would go 0 for 4. 2 groundouts, a flyout, and a strikeout. Steve Marino had a 2-run homer in the first game of this 3-game series. It was his 11th home run of the year, his career high in home runs. Cunningham set, here's the pitch, and Marino takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Steve Marino. Still no action in the Wild Things bullpen, so Cunningham is going to be let go here. Here's the 1-0, and that one's low as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Steve Marino. Chase Cunningham on the hill for the Wild Things. Here's the 2-0. And that one's a called strike at the letters. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Joliet lost earlier today, so if the Wild Things can find a way to fight back in this one, they would move to 1 game out of first place. The 2-1, and that one swung on a miss. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. 1 strikeout today for Chase Cunningham. Not a strikeout pitcher on the mound, as we talked about earlier. Cunningham 23 strikeouts in 53 innings of work, so not going to get a lot of swings and misses in this game. Here's the 2-2. And this one hit towards center field. Chris Grayson giving chase, and this one's going to fall in for a base hit. Steve Marino's second hit of the day, his second single, and he is on here with 1 out in the top of the third, and that'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore so far today, 1 for 1, singled and scored a run his first time around. And Moore last night would go 0 for 4, struck out 3 times, and also grounded out in the contest against your Wild Things. 1 out here in the top of the third. Runner on after the Steve Marino single. Southern Illinois leads this one 6-0. Cunningham has his sign, checks first in the pitch, and that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Riley Moore. Moore being thrusted into duty after DeMello was added to the disabled list before this series. Cunningham looking into Kyle Pollock. Checks first, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And this one is on the low inside corner for a strike, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Ron Whitting Sr. behind the plate. New umpire for this series. It had been Jim Scaly and Mark Schmidt. Schmidt not in this game today. Scaly out there on the bases, and Ron Whitting Sr. comes in behind the plate. Cunningham has his sign. He's set, and the 0-2. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes here on Riley Moore. 1-2 the count. 2 walks on the day for Cunningham to just 1 strikeout. Walks not normally what you see from Cunningham. As we said, only 11 walks in 53 innings of work so far this year. So very uncharacteristic of him last inning. The 1-2, and this one chops slowly to the right side and will go foul, so the count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Riley Moore, the number 7 hitter in this order for the Southern Illinois Miners. Is hitting that 7th spot in each of these 3 games with Edison Sanchez and Francisco Rosario behind him. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 man out. Cunningham looking in. Has his sign, he's set, throw over to first. And getting back over there is Steve Marino. For Steve Marino over there. Currently no stolen bases in 53 games played. Cunningham looking into Kyle Pollock. Shakes off the first sign. Now has one he wants. He's set. And the 1-2 pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Count even here on Riley Moore. Count went to 2-2 on Steve Marino before he singled. Nolan Early a first pitch out to start this inning. Cunningham looking into his catcher, Kyle Pollock. Game 3 of this 3-game series. Southern Illinois has taken the first 2 from your Wild Things. Cunningham has his sign, the 2-2. And this ball lined to the right field. Dave Popkins a couple steps in, and he'll make the catch for out number 2. 2 away here in the top of the 3rd, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez so far, RBI single in the 2nd and scored a run. In last night's game, Sanchez would end up going 1 for 3. Singled, walked, and scored a run, struck out, and grounded out in the contest. 2 outs here in the top of the 3rd, 6-0. The Southern Illinois Miners leading over your Washington Wild Things. Cunningham looking in, has his sign, checks first in the pitch, and this one hit to center field. Chris Grayson not having to move very far, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. So a 1-pitch out ends the inning. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 2.5, the score. The Southern Illinois Miners 6, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 3rd, and the score. Southern Illinois Miners 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Wild Things, Dave Popkins walked, Logan Uxa hit into a fielder's choice, Grant Fink flew out, and Jimmy Yezzo grounded out to end the inning. Due up here in the 3rd, Kyle Pollock, Austin Wobrock, and Jamondrick Magruder, 8-9-1, facing off against Jarrett Miller. Miller so far so good in this one. 1-2-3 inning in the 1st, and then the 2nd just faced 4 men. Still is not allowed a hit through the first 2 innings of work. Southern Illinois has 6 hits on the night in their 6-0 lead over your Washington Wild Things. Now the Wild Things, 2 days off following this game. They're off tomorrow and Tuesday. They will return to action for a doubleheader on July 20th against the River City Rascals right here at Consol Energy Park. 6:05 first pitch as Matt Frodden will take the hill for Game 1. Game 2 will be started by Luke Wilkins, and then the final game of that 3-game series being played on Thursday, July 21st at 7:05. Trevor Foss taking the hill for that one. That'll conclude this 10-game homestand. Then a 3-game road trip for your Wild Things as they go to Southern Illinois. They come back for 3 against the normal Corn Belters, and then they go on a big 9-game, 12-day road trip. Kyle Pollock stepping in to lead things off here in the bottom of the 3rd. Pollock on the year, 232, a homer, and 5 RBIs. Miller has his sign. Here's the pitch, and Pollock takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Kyle Pollock. 1 walk on the day so far for Jarrett Miller. No strikeouts to this point. Miller has his sign, the 1-0. And this one grounded towards the middle. Rosario giving chase. He'll get to it. Throw on to first is in time for out number 1. Nice pick in the dirt there by Alex De Leon. And 2 pitches and 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. That'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock on the year hitting 195, 1 home run, and 11 RBIs. 1 out here in the bottom of the 3rd. Wobrock at the plate, 6-0. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Wobrock in his 2nd year with the Wild Things, batting from the left side of the plate. Jarrett Miller has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Austin Wobrock. Wobrock out there at shortstop. Miller has his sign. He's set, and the 0-1. And this one grounded to the left side, and that'll be a base hit. The first hit for your Washington Wild Things today as they get a man on here with one out. Wobrock placing that perfectly between the hole made by Marino and Rosario over there on the left side of the infield. And he's on with one man out. That'll bring up the second baseman, Jamadric Magruder. Magruder so far in this one, 0 for 1, grounded out his first time. And in last night's game would go 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and 2 groundouts on the night. Runner at first, one man out. Austin Wobrock over there currently leads your Washington Wild Things in terms of stolen bases this season. Miller has his sign, checks on Wobrock, and the pitch. Magruder showing bunts and gets this one down. Miller chasing it, throwing to first, and it's in time to get Jamadric Magruder. Sacrifice bunt, 1-3 on the putout. Meanwhile, Austin Wobrock moving up to second on the play. So there's 2 outs and a runner at second, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far 0 for 1, flew out his first time, and in last night's game, Rodriguez would go 1 for 4, a single, also flew out twice, and grounded out in the contest. 2 outs, bottom of the third, 6-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Austin Wobrock stands at second, has the only hit for the Wild Things to this point in this game. Jarrett Miller has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Rodriguez fouls this one off to the right, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez actually started the year on the disabled list for your Washington Wild Things, playing in his 44th game today, as the first week of the season he sat out, came back for the Wild Things home opener, and has been in the lineup ever since. Jarrett Miller has his sign, checks second, and the 0-1. And that one's in there as well, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2, 2 men out, bottom of the third. Southern Illinois leading 6-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Austin Wobrock standing at second base, a 1-out single for him in this inning. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And Rodriguez takes this one in the dirt. Count will go to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. Riley Moore back there blocking that one. The Miners have had very good defense behind the plate. DeMello very good behind the plate. Moore good as well. Talking to Jason Garrett before the game today. Says Moore's defensive ability is a little lacking in comparison to DeMello, but still a very good backstop. The 1-2, and that one's high for a ball. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Ricky Rodriguez out there at third base, as he has been for most of the season. We've also seen him in left field, and he's done some DHing for the Wild Things, but primarily a third baseman this year. Miller has his sign, checks Wobrock at second, and the 2-2. And this ball grounded to the left side and foul. Count will remain 2 balls and 2 strikes. Past manager Greg Langben over there in the third base coaching box. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out, bottom of the third. 6-0 Southern Illinois Miners lead here in Game 3 of this 3-game series over a sunny Consol Energy Park. A pretty big crowd here, about 3/4 of the way full here at Consol Energy Park on this Sunday evening. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the 2-2. And this one's in the dirt for a ball 3, so the count goes full to 3. No, actually it was a called strike 3, and Rodriguez strikes out. That will end the inning. No runs in the inning on just 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. And after 3, the score, Southern Illinois 6, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 4th, and the score, Southern Illinois 6, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Southern Illinois Miners. Nolan Early grounded out to start things, and Steve Marino singled. Riley Moore flew out, and Edison Sanchez flew out to end the inning. Due up here in the top of the 4th, Francisco Rosario, Aaron Gates, and Shane Kennedy, 9, 1, and 2, facing off against Chase Cunningham. Now, as we said last time out for Cunningham, 6 innings in the outing, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 4 hits, a walk and 3 strikeouts, picking up his 3rd win of the year. Had some struggles in the first inning as he gave up 3 runs in the first inning against Joliet, but his offense able to pick him up and get him the win in that one. Prior to that start, his offensive support has been lacking. He's gotten 1 run or fewer in 4 straight starts prior to last time out getting the victory. So got some offensive support. He needs some here as his team down 6-0 to the Southern Illinois Miners. Francisco Rosario making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the 4th. Rosario on the day so far is currently 0 for 1, popped out in his first at-bat this evening. In last night's game, Francisco Rosario ended up going 1 for 4, singled, reached on an error, reached on a fielder's choice, and struck out. Cunningham's pitch, and that one's low for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Francisco Rosario. Rosario, the shortstop for the Miners. Here's the 1-0, and that one's low as well. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count on Francisco Rosario. Rosario made a couple plays in the bottom half of the 3rd. Here's the 2-0, and that one's a called strike. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Francisco Rosario. Nobody out here in the top of the 4th. Cunningham has his sign in the 2-1, and that one's low as well. So Cunningham falling behind here. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Francisco Rosario. Nobody out here in the top of the 4th. And then the next pitch is outside, ball 4. So a leadoff walk to Francisco Rosario. The 3rd walk of the day for Chase Cunningham, as there's a runner at first to lead off the top of the 4th, and that'll bring up the leadoff man, Aaron Gates. Gates on the day so far is 0 for 1, flew out, walked, and scored a run so far in this one. Nobody out top of the 4th, runner at first for the Southern Illinois Miners. Cunningham has his sign. Here's the pitch, and that one's on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Aaron Gates. Francisco Rosario on first after he walked to lead off the inning. Cunningham looking into Pollock, has his sign. He's set, and the 0-1. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Aaron Gates. Gates, a solo home run to lead off the game last night, gave Southern Illinois Miners an early lead. Southern Illinois currently leads this one 6-0. Cunningham has his sign. He's set in the 1-1, and this one hit the left field. Grant Fink going back to the track, to the wall, and he will make the running catch, banging into the wall out there. A very nice catch by Grant Fink, and that is out number 1 here in the top of the 4th. Fink running all the way back to the wall to corral that baseball and slamming hard into the wall for out number 1. He is okay as he gets back to his left field position. Very nice play made there, and that'll bring up the left fielder, Shane Kennedy. Kennedy so far 1 for 2, 2 RBI single in the 2nd as well as a fly out. Cunningham set in the pitch, and Kennedy takes this one inside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Shane Kennedy. 1 laboring inning for Chase Cunningham through 35 pitches in that 6-run 2nd inning. Other than that, 12 in the 1st, 13 in the 3rd. Cunningham set. Here's the 1-0, and that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Shane Kennedy. Kennedy making his first start in this series. Edison Sanchez was in left field for the first 2 games. Cunningham has his sign and the 2-0. And this one's high as well, so Cunningham falling behind, 3 balls and no strikes. Kyle Pollock going out to talk to him. Cunningham has been wild today. We haven't seen this a lot from Chase Cunningham, as if he walks this next guy, he'll have his season high in walks. His season high right now is 3, as he tied his season high so far in this one with 3 walks. Had 2 in the 2nd, and then 1 in this inning so far. 3 balls, no strikes, 1 man out. Shane Kennedy, the batter. Chase Cunningham would love a ground ball here to a middle infielder. Cunningham has his sign. He's set in the 3-0. And that one's on at the letters for a strike. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Shane Kennedy. A man on with 1 out. Francisco Rosario walked to lead off this inning. Then Aaron Gates flew out. Now Kennedy at the plate. The 3-1. And this one hit foul off to the right. The count will go full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Craig Massey, the on-deck hitter for the Southern Illinois Miners. Miners lead this one 6-0 here in the top of the fourth over your Washington Wild Things. Cunningham looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the 3-2. And this one swung on and missed. Kennedy strikes out, and that is out number 2. Cunningham's second strikeout of the game, and that'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far, 1 for 2, a strikeout and an RBI single to this point. 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. Southern Illinois leading 6-0 over your Washington Wild Things, with Francisco Rosario still at first base after his leadoff walk. Cunningham looking in, has his sign, he's setting the pitch, and that one's high for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Craig Massey. 2 men out, top of the fourth. Chase Cunningham has allowed 6 runs in the second inning. A big second inning for Southern Illinois. The pitch, and this one lined down the right field line. It's hooking, and it is a fair ball. Around first, heading to second is Massey. Rosario is going to be waved to the plate. Here comes the throw, and it's not in time. Francisco Rosario scores. It's an RBI triple for Craig Massey, and Southern Illinois now leads this one 7-0. For Craig Massey, that's RBI number 25 on the year. Rosario coming all the way around from first to score, and Southern Illinois now leading 7-0. That'll bring to the plate Alex De Leon. De Leon on the day so far is 0 for 1. Walked and scored a run his first time in the top of the second, and then popped out in the top of the second as well. He was the first batter of the top of the second and the last batter in the top of the second. 2 outs here, top of the fourth. 7-0. Southern Illinois leading over your Wild Things. Runner at third with 2 outs. It's Craig Massey over there. Cunningham has his sign, the pitch, and that one's in there for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Massey's 25th RBI of the year. And for Craig Massey, excuse me, that is his 5th triple of the season. Here's the 0-1, and this one hit foul off to the right. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. That'll prompt action in the Washington Wild Things bullpen as Ashton Parrott gets up and loose here in the 4th inning. 2 outs. Ashton Parrott was signed 2 weeks ago, has not appeared in a game yet for the Wild Things. Cunningham looking in, shakes off the first sign and the second and the third. Now has one he wants. He's set. Here's the 0-2. And this one's high for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Alex De Leon. De Leon, the cleanup man. As we said, the first and last batter of the top of the second inning. Cunningham has his sign, the 1-2. And this ball grounded foul off to the left, and the count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes. As Craig Massey over there at third having to jump out of the way of that ball. Not hit very hard, so it wouldn't have caused him any harm if it hit him, but still doing a little skip to my Lou over that baseball. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. Right-hander Chase Cunningham struggled in the second inning, giving up 6 runs, and now has given up a solo run here in the 4th. Southern Illinois leading at 7-0. Cunningham has his sign. He's set in the 1-2. And this ball popped up foul and back into the seats. Count will remain 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alex De Leon, 6th pitch of the at-bat coming up against De Leon, is creating a battle here with Chase Cunningham. Craig Massey, a 2-out RBI triple. Drove in Francisco Rosario, brought in the only run of this inning to this point. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Cunningham looks in, has his sign, the 1-2. And that one's called strike 3, and De Leon strikes out. That will end the inning. But the Miners do get another run in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and a man left on base. After 3.5 the score, Southern Illinois 7, and your Washington Wild Things 1. You're listening to nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 4th, and the score, Southern Illinois 7, and your Washington Wild Things Last inning for the Wild Things, Kyle Pollock grounded out to start things, then Austin Wobrock singled. Jamadrick Magruder hit a sac bunt, moving Wobrock over to second, and Ricky Rodriguez struck out to end the inning. Due up here in the fourth for your Wild Things, Chris Grayson, Dave Popkins, and Logan Uxa, 3, 4, and 5, facing off against Jarrett Miller. Now, the last time Miller took the mound, a very good start for him against River City on July the 10th. Went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs, both earned on 3 hits, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts in what would be a no decision. His record staying at 3-2 as it is currently on the season. Jarrett Miller, very good his last time out. Has been very good really all season, as most of these Southern Illinois Miners pitchers have been. That 2.94 ERA, 3-2 the record. Has pitched better than that 3-2 record suggests, as he's having a good start so far against your Wild Things. Just 1 hit through 3 innings. As Miller finishes his warm-up tosses, Chris Grayson making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the top of the fourth. But before he does, we want to remind you every Friday night is fireworks night here at Consol Energy Park. Enjoy a spectacular fireworks display after all Friday night Wild Things home game. The next fireworks night, not for a while for your Washington Wild Things, as they'll be on the road for a couple consecutive Fridays here. As they're on the road next Friday, also on the road the Friday after that. So it'll be a long time before the next fireworks night for your Washington Wild Things. Grayson at the plate. Here's the pitch, and Grayson takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. Grayson on the day so far is 0 for 1, grounded out in his first at-bat. In last night's game, Chris Grayson would go 2 for 4, a solo home run, reached on a fielder's choice, doubled, and grounded out. This pitch grounded to second. Craig Massey has it. Throwing to first is just in time to get Chris Grayson for out number 1. Grayson thought he beat it by a step. Unfortunately, he's called out by the field umpire, Jim Scaley, and there's 1 away here in the bottom of the fourth. That'll bring up the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Popkins, no official at bat yet, walked his last time up, and in yesterday's ballgame would go 2 for 4, 2 singles, a strikeout, and a flyout. And that throw just beating Chris Grayson at first base by a step. Time is called here by the home plate umpire as something flew onto the field. One of the Wild Things bullpen guys taking care of that. And we are ready to resume action here in the bottom of the fourth. 7-0 Miners lead. The pitch, and that one's outside to Popkins. 1 ball and no strikes. 1-0 the count to the Wild Things right fielder. Second on the team in home runs with his 7 home runs. Also second with 24 RBIs. The pitch, and that one's low as well. 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Dave Popkins. Popkins' .299 average, good for third on the team, behind Jamadrick Magruder and Ricky Rodriguez. The 2-0, and this one lined into right field, and that'll get down for a base hit, and it'll go to the wall. Popkins around first, heading to second, and he will be in there with a 1-out double. Runner in scoring position for the Wild Things. The second time they've had a man over there in scoring position with 1 out, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Logan Uxa. Uxa so far on the day is 0 for 1, grounded into a fielder's choice his first time up. In last night's game, Logan Uxa was at first base, and Uxa ended up going 0 for 4, struck out, lined out, and grounded out twice in the contest. Uxa, the Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week, named that over the All-Star break. Jarrett Miller looking in. Miller has his sign, checks Popkins at second, and the pitch. And Uxa swing and a miss, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Logan Uxa. Runner at second, 1 man out. Now Riley Moore and Jarrett Miller meeting about halfway between the mound and home plate to have a conversation. Now that conversation is quickly over. Ashton Parrott continues to warm in the Wild Things bullpen. So we'll see if he comes in for the 5th inning for your Washington Wild Things. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Logan Uxa at the plate. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Logan Uxa. Uxa 2 home runs last week in his Week 9 Player of the Week. Drove in 6 over the week. Also had a triple and a double during his Week 9 Player of the Week status. Here's Miller's 1-1. And Uxa into right field right at Alex De Leon. And they caught Dave Popkins off to second as they'll fire to second for the double play. So a line out to first base and then a 3-5 put out for the double play, ends the inning. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. After 4, the score, Southern Illinois 7, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the top of the 5th, and the score, Southern Illinois 7 and the Washington Wild Things nothing. Pitching change for the Wild Things is making his Washington Wild Things debut. Right-hander Ashton Parrott. Parrott signed 2 weeks ago from the Traverse City Beach Bums. With Traverse City, Parrott was 0-1 with a 4.41 ERA. He threw 16 and a third innings of work, giving up 9 runs, 8 earned, on 13 hits while striking out 11 and walking 8 in 16 and a third. So Parrott making his Washington Wild Things debut. Final line for starter Chase Cunningham. Cunningham went 4 innings, gave up 7 runs, all earned on 7 hits, 3 walks and 3 strikeouts, throwing 82 pitches on the night. So a rough outing for Chase Cunningham. Ashton Parrott into the game, and the first man he'll face here in the top of the 5th is right fielder Nolan Early. Early will be followed by Steve Marino and Riley Moore. Ashton Parrott, signed by the Washington Wild Things 2 weeks ago from the Traverse City Beach Bums, signed on the same day that Chris Grayson was signed. Ashton Parrott also, playing in affiliated baseball as he played in Single A for the Texas Rangers, playing for their Single A team. Nolan Early at the plate. Early so far 0 for 2. A pop out and a ground out to this point. Parrott setting the pitch, and this one grounded to second. Jamadrick Magruder handles it. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 1. So a great start out of the bullpen for Ashton Parrott. 1 pitch, 1 away here in the top of the 5th, and that'll bring up the third baseman, Steve Marino. Marino 2 for 2 so far, has singled and scored a run in the second and singled in inning number 3. 1 out, top of the 5th. Southern Illinois currently leads this one 7-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Ashton Parrott making his Wild Things debut. Parrott has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Marino takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Steve Marino, the captain of these Southern Illinois Miners. First captain in team history. Ashton Parrott has his sign. He's set, and the 0-1. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball, 1 strike. Parrott had good strikeout numbers with Traverse City. 11 strikeouts in 16 and a third innings with Traverse City before joining the Wild Things. Parrott has his sign, the 1-1. And this one popped up shallow left center. Wobrock going out, and he's not going to make the catch. A bloop single for Steve Marino. Marino's third hit of the day, and he's on base here with 1 out in the top of the 5th, and that'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore on the day, 1 for 2, singled and scored a run in the second, and flew out in inning number 3. 1 out, top of the 5th. A bloop single for Steve Marino. The second time we've seen a Southern Illinois Miner bloop a ball in there over the head of Austin Wobrock. Wobrock gave chase and just could not get to that ball. Riley Moore at the plate, runner at first, Steve Marino after his third hit of the day. Parrott has his sign, he's setting the pitch. And that one's on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Ashton Parrott throws right, bats right, standing at 6'1", 195. He went to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. Parrott has his sign, the 0-1, and that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. Parrott was originally drafted by the Atlanta Braves in the 17th round of the 2014 MLB Amateur Draft, and then he was drafted by the Texas Rangers in the 2015 Amateur Draft, foregoing the draft by the Braves to go to college. He was picked in the 24th round by the Rangers. Parrott's 1-1, and this one swung on and missed at a ball in the dirt, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count. As we said, he spent 1 year in single-A ball for the Texas Rangers organization, and in that 1 year, appeared in 15 games, had an 0-1 record and a 6.75 ERA. Parrott checks first, looks into Kyle Pollock, has his sign, he's set, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And this one swung on and missed. Ashton Parrott strikes him out, and that is out number 2. Parrott's first strikeout with the Wild Things, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez so far on the day, 1 for 2, RBI single and scored a run in the second, and flew out in inning number 3. 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Southern Illinois leading 7-0 over your Washington Wild Things in this one. Parrott looks in, checks first, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Edison Sanchez, a pop-up, shallow center field. Jamadrick Magruder going out, he'll call for it and make the catch. That is out number 3. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 4.5, the score. Southern Illinois 7, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uxa, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the bottom of the 5th, and the score, Southern Illinois 7, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Wild Things, Chris Grayson grounded out to start things, then Dave Popkins doubled, and Logan Uxa lined out right to Alex De Leon at first base. Popkins caught off the second base bag and would be doubled up to end the inning. Due up here in the 5th, Grant Fink, Jimmy Yezzo, and Kyle Pollock, 6, 7, and 8, facing off against Jarrett Miller. And Miller last inning only having to throw 10 pitches. The most pitches he's thrown in an inning in this game is 16. He threw 16 in the second inning of work. So Grant Fink making his way to the plate to lead things off here in the bottom of the 5th. Wild Things have some work to do, down by 7. They still have a chance to get back into this game. You got to fight back 1 inning at a time. Get a little bit here, a little bit there, and eventually it'll add up, and you can get back into this game. Fink steps in. Fink so far in the day 0 for 1. Flew out in his first at-bat. In last night's game, Fink would go 1 for 4, a solo home run, and 3 strikeouts. The pitch, and that one's at the knees for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Grant Fink. Fink, the right-handed batter at the plate, making his second straight start in left field. Miller's set. Here's the 0-1, and this one shot right back to the mound. Miller has it. He'll throw on to first, and that's in time for out number 1. 1 up, 1 down here in the bottom of the 5th, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far 0 for 1 in this contest. Yezzo in yesterday's ball game would go 0 for 3. 2 strikeouts, walked, and flew out on the day. 7-0 Southern Illinois Miners lead this one. Just 2 hits allowed by the starting pitcher, Jared Miller, as Dave Popkins and Austin Woldrock holding the hits for your Wild Things. First pitch here to Yezzo, and it's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. Game 3 of this 3-game series, the 1-0, and that one's outside as well. Ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes here on Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo being patient with 1 man out, trying to get on base. Miller looks in, has his sign, and the 2-0. And this one's on the outside corner this time for a strike. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 here on Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo out there at first base today. It's Logan Uxa in the DH role. Here's the 2-1, and this one lined into left field, and that'll be a base hit. Jimmy Yezzo, a one-out single. He'll reach base, the third hit of the day for your Washington Wild Things, and that'll bring up the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Pollock so far 0 for 1, grounded out in his first at-bat. Last night, Pollock would go 1 for 3, hit his first Wild Things home run. Also walked and flew out twice in the game. 1 out, bottom of the 5th, 7-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Jarrett Miller looks into Riley Moore. Miller has his sign, checks Yezzo at first, and the pitch. And Pollock takes this one for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things catcher, Kyle Pollock. 1 out here in the bottom of the 5th, 7-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Wild Things. Jarrett Miller shakes off the first sign, now has one he likes. He's set, and the 0-1. And Pollock lines this one foul back to the screen on the right side, and the count goes to 0-2. Here at Consol Energy Park, that screen stretching from dugout to dugout. It hit on the Washington Wild Things dugout side of that screen. No balls, 2 strikes, 1 man out. Chase Cunningham, a rough start for your Wild Things, 4 innings, giving up 7 runs on the day. Miller has his sign, the 0-2, and that one's high for a ball, 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Pollock. The Wild Things offense trying to claw back in this one. Ashton Parrott currently pitching for your Wild Things, making his Wild Things debut. Jarrett Miller looks in. Miller has his sign, checks Yezzo at first, and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And that one's in the dirt. Pollock checked his swing, however, and the count goes to 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 man out, bottom of the 5th. Wild Things trying to claw back in this game, down 7-0. 7 runs on 8 hits for the Miners, no runs on 3 hits for your Wild Things. Miller has his sign, checks over at first, throw over there, and getting back in is Jimmy Yezzo. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Yezzo does have 2 stolen bases on the year. Takes his lead from first. Miller has his sign, and the 2-2. And that one's in the dirt. Count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes. On deck man for the Wild Things is Austin Wobrock. Runner at first, 1 man out. Full count here on the catcher, Kyle Pollock. Miller has his sign, checks first, and the 3-2 pitch. And Pollock, a ground ball to the left side, and that's a base hit. Back-to-back singles now have runners at first and second with 1 man out, and that'll bring to the plate the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far 1 for 1, singled in the 3rd inning his first time up, and last night's game would go 0 for 4, grounded out 3 times, and flew out in the contest. Runners at first and second here, 1 man out, bottom of the 5th. Southern Illinois leading this one 7-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Wobrock at the plate, got the first hit of the day for your Washington Wild Things earlier in this game. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign, he's set, now time is called. So he'll do it again. 1 out, bottom of the 5th, 7-0 Southern Illinois leading here over your Wild Things. Miller has his sign, he's set, checks second, the pitch. And Wobrock a grounded to third. Marino handles it, tags Pollock for 1 onto first, and it's in time for the double play. 5-3 double play, and the inning is over. No runs in the inning on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on. After 5 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 7, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here in the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 6th, and the score, Southern Illinois 7, and your Washington Wild Things nothing. Ashton Parrott back out there for his 2nd inning of relief, coming on to relieve the starter Chase Cunningham. Cunningham, his final line, he went 4 innings, giving up 7 runs on 7 hits, giving up 3 walks and 3 strikeouts through 82 pitches in his outing. Parrott so far an inning of relief did not give up a run on just one hit, striking out one and not walking a batter to this point. Parrott out there warming up. Last inning for the Southern Illinois Miners. Nolan Early grounded out to start things, and Steve Marino would single. Riley Moore struck out, and Edison Sanchez popped out to end the inning. Due up here in the 6th for the Miners, Francisco Rosario, Aaron Gates, and Shane Kennedy, 9-1-2, facing off against Ashton Parrott in his Wild Things debut. The Wild Things are offering a flex plan promotion. Get a 12-ticket plan for the price of a 10-ticket plan. Flex plans are great for people who have hectic schedules and can't take advantage of a typical season ticket package because they're not sure which games they can attend. A flex plan gets you ticket vouchers at a reduced cost, and you can redeem them whenever it's convenient for you. Call the box office today at 866-456-WILD for more information. Ashton Parrott, a good start to his Wild Things career, just giving up that one hit to Steve Marino, but nobody seems to be able to get Steve Marino out today. 3 hits for him today, all singles. One of them a bloop single, 2 sharply hit singles. So Marino owning this Wild Things pitching staff today. Other than that, got his first Wild Things strikeout, got a ground out and a pop out in his first inning of work out of the bullpen. Francisco Rosario stepping in to lead things off against Parrott here in the top of inning number 6. Rosario to this point is so far 0 for 1, a pop out, walked, and scored a run on the day. Ashton Parrott on the mound, his second inning of relief for your Wild Things. Parrott looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And this one's outside for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Francisco Rosario. Parrott, as we said, in his Wild Things debut, came to the Wild Things from the Traverse City Beach Bums about 2 weeks ago. And this is his first game pitching on the mound. Parrott has his sign, the 1-0. And that one's outside for a ball, so the count goes to 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count here on Francisco Rosario. Ashton Parrott, the right-hander, versus Rosario, the left-handed batter. Parrott has his sign, he's set in the 2-0. And that one's low for a ball, 3 balls and no strikes. 3-0 the count here on Rosario, and now Kyle Pollock going out to talk to Ashton Parrott after he falls behind 3-0 to Rosario. Parrott for Traverse City had 8 walks in 16 1/3 innings of work. So he does have the tendency to get wild at times, but also the 11 strikeouts is good to see. He hit 2 batters with Traverse City. Ashton Parrott looking in. Has his sign, he's set, and the 3-0. And that one's outside, ball 4. So a 4-pitch walk starts the inning here in the top of the 6th as Rosario, his second walk of the day, Parrott's first walk. And that has a man on, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Aaron Gates. Gates on the day so far, 0 for 2, flew out to left field twice and walked and scored a run, getting an RBI on that walk. Oh, nobody out, runner at first, top of the 6th. Southern Illinois leading this one by a score of 7-0. Parrott has his sign, checks first in the pitch, and that one's in there for a strike on the inside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Aaron Gates. Second inning of work for Ashton Parrott out of the Wild Things bullpen after Cunningham goes just 4 innings in this start. Parrott checks first, has his sign, and the 0-1. And this one chops slowly to second. Magruder has it. Has no play at second, so he'll get the shore out at first, and it's in time for out number 1. Meanwhile, Francisco Rosario moving up to second on the play. That'll bring up the left fielder, Shane Kennedy. Kennedy so far 0 for 2. Flew out in the first, struck out in the 4th, and hit a 2 RBI single in that 6-run second inning. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. 7-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. They have a runner at second with 1 man out. Parrott looking into Pollock, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch from Parrott. And that one's in there for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Shane Kennedy. Southern Illinois leading 7-0 thanks to a big 6-run top of the 2nd off starter Chase Cunningham. Parrott has his sign, he's set, checks Rosario, and the 0-1. And that one's in there as well, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Shane Kennedy. Kennedy making his first start of the series against these Washington Wild Things. Ashton Parrott looks in, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And this one grounded towards third base. Ricky Rodriguez charging, has it, throw to first, and that's in time for out number 2. A very nice defensive play there by Rodriguez as he charges, fires over to first, and gets that second out. Meanwhile, Rosario moving up to third on the play. That'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far 2 for 3. Struck out in the first, RBI single in the second, RBI triple in the fourth. Driven in 2 of his team's 7 runs on the day. 2 outs, top of the 6th, 7-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Parrott has his sign, checks Rosario at third in the pitch. And that one's on the outside corner for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Craig Massey. Massey batting from the left-handed side. Massey, a left-handed hitter, right-handed fielder. Here's the 0-1. And that one's on the outside corner as well. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Craig Massey. Runner at third, 2 men out as Francisco Rosario stands over there at third base. Right-hander Ashton Parrott in his Washington Wild Things debut looks into Kyle Pollock. Has his sign, he's set, and the 0-2. And this one grounded towards second. Magruder with a backhanded stop. Throw to first, and it's not in time. It'll be an RBI single for Craig Massey, his 3rd RBI of the day, as Rosario comes around to score, and Southern Illinois now leads this one 8-0. A slow roller to second base. Magruder did all he could to get to that ball, just did not have enough juice on the throw to first base to get Craig Massey. It's his 3rd RBI of the day, and that'll bring to the plate the first baseman, Alex De Leon. De Leon so far on the day, 0 for 2, walked and scored a run on the top of the 2nd, also popped out in the top of the 2nd, and struck out looking in the 4th inning. Ashton Parrott looks in, action in the Wild Things bullpen as Colin Stanley warming out there. Here's the pitch, and that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Alex De Leon. First run given up by Ashton Parrott as a Wild Thing. No balls, 1 strike, and 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. Parrott has his sign, he's set. And the 0-1. And that one's low for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Alex De Leon over at first base for the Miners. He's also the backup catcher on this team if Riley Moore should go down, because starting catcher Tony DeMello is on the disabled list. Parrott has his sign, the 1-1. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 count on Alex De Leon. 2 outs, top of the 6th. Another run in as Southern Illinois leads it 8-0. 3 RBIs for Craig Massey over there at first base. Parrott has his sign, he's set, and the 2-1. And that one's in the dirt, ball 3. 3 balls and a strike here on Alex De Leon. Ashton Parrott trying to get through this 6th inning of work. Through a scoreless 5th inning, allowing just 1 hit, now has allowed a run here in inning number 6. 2 outs, runner at first for the Southern Illinois Miners as Craig Massey. Massey drove in the run in this inning. Southern Illinois leading it 8-0 over your Wild Things. Ashton Parrott looks into Pollock. Parrott has his sign. He's set. And the 3-1. And this one fouled off back into the stands, so the count will go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count. Nolan Early, the on-deck man for the Miners if Alex De Leon should reach. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out. 8-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. De Leon, the right-handed batter, versus Ashton Parrott, the right-handed pitcher. Parrott has his sign, checks first, and the 3-2. Taking off for second is Massey, and that one's inside, ball 4. Second walk of the day for Ashton Parrott, second walk of this inning, and there are now runners at first and second with 2 men out, and that'll bring to the plate Nolan Early. Early so far, 0 for 3, popped out in the second, grounded out in the third, and grounded out in inning number 5. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th. The run in as the Southern Illinois Miners lead this one 8-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Nolan Early at the plate. Early has played in all 3 games against the Wild Things, was ejected from game 1 and played all 9 innings in game 2. Parrott has his sign, the pitch, and Early takes this one for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Early out there in right field, as he has been this entire series. Parrott looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-1. And this one's inside for a ball. Count goes even at 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Nolan Early. Ashton Parrott struggling here in the 6th inning. He allowed a run, has 2 walks in the inning. Allowed the RBI single to Craig Massey. Parrott has his sign, the 1-1. And this one grounded towards short. Wobrock dives. He's not going to get it. Massey will score, and it's an RBI single for Nolan Early. The Miners now lead it 9-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Nolan Early's first hit of the day. Craig Massey comes around to score. Alex DeLeon gets the second, and that'll bring manager Greg Langbat out of the dugout for another pitching change. So we're going to take a break here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise, we ensure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Currently in the top of the 6th, and the Southern Illinois Miners lead this one 9-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Pitching change for your Washington Wild Things as into the game now is Colin Stanley. Stanley comes in with a record of 3-1, 1 save on the season, a .337 ERA, appearing in his 19th game, has thrown 24 innings of work, giving up 10 runs, 9 earned on 21 hits, 19 strikeouts, and 9 walks on the day. Final line for reliever Ashton Parrott. Parrott went 1 2/3 in his Wild Things debut. So far, giving up 2 runs, both earned. Still responsible for, for Alex DeLeon at first base, or at second base, and Nolan Early at first base. Gave up 3 hits, 2 walks, and a strikeout, and threw 39 pitches in his outing. So Colin Stanley now in. Stanley's been a reliable middle relief option for the Washington Wild Things. Is coming out, has 1 save on the year because he pitched 3 innings in a game that the Wild Things would win to end the game. So Stanley picking up his save. Coming to the plate now, Steve Marino. Marino 3 for 3. He's been a tough out at the plate today for the Wild Things. 3 singles on the day. Alex DeLeon at second, Nolan Early at first. For Early, it was his first hit of the day and RBI number 33 on the year. Colin Stanley looking into Kyle Pollock. Stanley, new pitcher, has his sign. He's set. Checks second and the pitch. And this one grounded down the line. It's a foul ball past Ricky Rodriguez over there at third base. And the count's 0-1. No balls and a strike. 2 runs in the inning for the Southern Illinois Miners. They lead this one 9-0 over your Washington Wild Things. Alex DeLeon at second base. He walked, and Nolan Early, an RBI single, drove in the second run of this inning as Craig Massey scored. Colin Stanley has his sign, checks DeLeon at second, the 0-1. And this one hit the left center field, and this ball's going to get down and bounce at the wall. DeLeon scores. Coming around third is Nolan Early. He will score, and it's a 2 RBI double for Southern Illinois. They now lead this one 11-0 over your Washington Wild Things as DeLeon and Early come in to score, and this is now a blowout here. 11-0, the Southern Illinois Miners lead over your Washington Wild Things, and coming to the plate is Riley Moore. That finishes the line on Ashton Parrott. Parrott has now allowed 4 runs in the contest. Colin Stanley has his sign. He's set, and the pitch. And check swing. This one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Riley Moore. Moore today 1 for 3. Singled and scored a run in the second. Flew out in the third and struck out in the 5th. Colin Stanley coming to relieve Ashton Parrott and gave up a 2 RBI double to the first man he faced. Stanley checks second. Here's the 1-0. And that one's in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. 11-0. Southern Illinois leads this one over your Washington Wild Things. Game 3 of this 3-game series. The Wild Things losing 4-2 in Game 1, losing 4-3 in Game 2. Currently Southern Illinois an 11-0 lead here in the top of the 6th. Stanley has his sign, the 1-1, and this one grounded to first. Jimmy Yezzo handles it, takes to the bag himself, and that's in time for out number 3. But Southern Illinois ends up getting 4 runs in the inning on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 5.5, the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things nothing. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the bottom of the 6th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things nothing. Last inning for the Wild Things, Grant Fink grounded out to start things, and Jimmy Yezzo singled. Kyle Pollock would single, so there were 2 outs, runners at first and second, before Austin Wobrock grounded into a 5-3 double play that would end the inning. Due up here in the bottom of the 6th, Jamadric Magruder, Ricky Rodriguez, and Chris Grayson, 1, 2, and 3, facing off against Jarrett Miller. And Miller so far has been very good through 5 innings, has not allowed a run on 4 hits on the day, has currently struck out 1 man and has walked 1 on the day. Jarrett Miller, very good and also very efficient. The most pitches he's thrown in an inning is 16, and that was in the 2nd inning. For total so far, he has 60 pitches through 5 innings of work. So a very good outing for Jarrett Miller on the mound so far against your Wild Things. Unfortunately, however, the Wild Things losing 11-0 right now to Southern Illinois. They're going to have to do a lot to fight back into this game. 4 innings remaining, down by 11. Wild Things have tomorrow and Tuesday off. They will return Wednesday night for a doubleheader, 6:05 p.m. start against the River City Rascals. Matt Frauden taking the mound for your Wild Things in Game 1, and Luke Wilkins taking the mound in Game 2 against River City. Jamadric Magruder making his way to the plate. Magruder so far 0 for 1, grounded out in the first, and a sacrifice bunt in inning number 3. Jarrett Miller out there for his 6th inning of work. No action in the Southern Illinois bullpen, and won't assume there'll be anytime soon. Miller has his sign. Here's the pitch, and Magruder takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Jamadric Magruder. Miller has his sign. Here's the 1-0, and that one's in there for a strike. Count goes even at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, nobody out. Jamadric Magruder at the plate. Miller has his sign, the 1-1. And that one's outside for a ball, so Magruder getting ahead in the count here. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Magruder looking to get on base to lead things off here in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the 2-1, and that one's low for a ball. Count goes to 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count on Jamadric Magruder. He's played second base in every game he's played for the Wild Things so far. The 3-1, and that one's high, ball 4. So a leadoff walk for Jamadric Magruder. Gets a man on for the Wild Things with nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. And that'll bring up the third baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far 0 for 2. A flyout and a strikeout to this point. 11-0. The Southern Illinois Miners leading your Washington Wild Things. That was the 2nd walk of the day for Jarrett Miller. He does have only one strikeout in the contest. Miller looks into his catcher Moore, has his sign, throw over to first, and Magruder getting back in there. Magruder 23 stolen bases for the Grand Prairie Air Hogs last season. Has none in his Washington Wild Things career to this point. Jarrett Miller has his sign. He's set, checks first, and the pitch. And Rodriguez fouls this one back to the screen. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things all-star third baseman. 11-0 Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things here in the bottom of the 6th. 4 runs in the top of this 6th inning. has given them this lead. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, checks Magruder, and the 0-1. And this one's high for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez. One of 4 All-Stars for your Washington Wild Things. Rodriguez, Trevor Foss, Zach Groats, and Dave Popkins all making the All-Star team for your Wild Things this season. Miller has his sign. Here's the 1-1. And Rodriguez grounds this towards third, and it'll go foul. And the count will go to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Ricky Rodriguez. Nobody out, bottom of the 6th, 11-0. Southern Illinois leading your Washington Wild Things. Modric Magruder led off this inning with a walk. He's over at first base. Jarrett Miller looking in to catcher Riley Moore. Miller has his sign. Throw over to first. And Magruder getting back in there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Jarrett Miller, right-handed pitcher, facing Ricky Rodriguez, the right-handed batter. Bottom of the 6th, 11-0 Southern Illinois leads. Miller has his sign, the 1-2. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Ricky Rodriguez, trying to get on base following Magruder's walk. That's what the Wild Things have to do. Just get as many men on base as you can and hope you can get some big hits. Miller has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2 pitch. And this one fouled back to the screen. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count here on Ricky Rodriguez. Runner at first, nobody out. Jamadric Magruder over there at first base for the Washington Wild Things. 2 balls, 2 strikes, nobody out. Miller has his sign, he's set. Checks first, and the 2-2. And this one grounded softly to the left side. De Leon has it, the second for 1. They're going to have no play at first. So it's a fielder's choice, 6-3. On the putout, Jamadric Magruder retired at second base. And there's 1 out and a runner at first, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far in the day, 0 for 2, grounded out to second base in both at-bats. Last time off a very close play at first base, but he was just thrown out by an eyelash. 1 man out here in the bottom of the 6th, 11-0. Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Chris Grayson coming to the plate for the 3rd time today. It's the 3rd time through the Wild Things order here in the 6th inning. Jarrett Miller looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Grayson to center field. Going back on his gates, and he'll drop the ball. He had it in his glove for a second, drops the ball. Rodriguez gets in at 3rd, Grayson gets in at 2nd. There are now runners at 2nd and 3rd with 1 man out. Aaron Gates going back on it and dropped the ball. Had it in his glove momentarily. We'll see if they give the Wild Things a hit on this play. No ruling just as of yet. But Chris Grayson in at 2nd. And Ricky Rodriguez gets all the way to 3rd on the play. Still no ruling on the scoreboard. Dave Popkins coming to the plate. Popkins so far in this one, 1 for 1, walked and doubled to this point. 1 out, runners at 2nd and 3rd for the Wild Things. Chris Grayson on second base, still no ruling on that play, as they've not given him a hit or an error on Aaron Gates. But right now, Grayson on 2nd, Rodriguez at 3rd. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Popkins in the right field, that's a base hit. Rodriguez will score, Grayson will be held at 3rd, and the Wild Things are on the board. It is 11-1. Dave Popkins, 25th RBI of the year. He's at first base. Grayson moves up to 3rd on the play, and they have officially rolled in an E8 on the Grayson play, so that run will be unearned to Jarrett Miller. The Wild Things finally get on the board. It is 11-1. Popkins, 25th RBI of the year, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Logan Uxa. Uxa on the day so far, 0 for 2, reached on a fielder's choice in the 2nd and hit into a 3-5 double play in inning number 4. 11-1, Southern Illinois leads this one. Jarrett Miller looking in. Miller has his sign, he's set, and the pitch to Uxa. That one's outside for a ball, 1 ball, no strikes. Miller running into some trouble here in the 6th inning. Allowed the first run of the game that he has given up, and that'll prompt action in the Southern Illinois bullpen, as up and throwing out there is Kyle Tinius. Jarrett Miller has his sign, checks Popkins at first, and the pitch. And Uxa takes this one high for a ball, 2 balls and no strikes. 2-0 the count, a run in for the Wild Things in the inning. Dave Popkins' RBI single, his 25th RBI of the year. Good for second on the team. Miller has his sign, the 2-0. And that one's in there for a strike on Uxa. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count on the Wild Things DH. 11-1, Southern Illinois leads this one. Wild Things getting their first run here in the bottom of the 6th. Miller has his sign, the 2-1. And that one swung on a miss by Uxa. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count on Logan Uxa, designated hitter for the Wild Things. Chris Grayson over at third. He reached on a 2-base error. And Dave Popkins, an RBI single. He's over at first. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2. And a swing and a miss by Uxa. He strikes out. And that is out number 2. 2 away for the Wild Things here in the bottom of the 6th, down 11-1. And that'll bring up the left fielder, Grant Fink. Fink so far 0 for 2, flew out in the 2nd and grounded out in inning number 5. Runner at third, Chris Grayson. He reached on a 2-base error. Runner at first, Dave Popkins, after his RBI single. 11-1, Southern Illinois leads this one. 11 runs, 11 hits, 1 error for the Miners. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for your Wild Things. Miller has his sign, checks first, and the pitch. And Fink takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Grant Fink out there in left field for the 2nd straight day. Fink standing in at 6'3", 215 from Spokane, Washington. Miller has his sign. He's set, and the 0-1. And this ball popped up. Shallow center field. Out goes Rosario. He'll call everyone off, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. But the Wild Things do get a run in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 6 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 1. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get a sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the top of the 7th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 1. Colin Stanley out there for his first full inning of relief. Came in and got the last out of inning number 6. A big inning for the Southern Illinois Miners as Ashton Parrott was in for his 2nd inning of work. Walked Francisco Rosario to start things, and Aaron Gates grounded out. Shane Kennedy grounded out. There's a runner at third with 2 outs before Craig Massey came through with an RBI single that scored Rosario. That made the score 8-0. Then a walk to Alex De Leon, and Nolan Early came up with an RBI single of his own, scoring Kennedy. That made it 9-0. That was the end of the day for Ashton Parrott. Parrott went 1 2/3, gave up 4 runs, all earned on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout, throwing 39 pitches. Colin Stanley came into the game. The first man he faced, Steve Marino, a 2 RBI double, scored both Alex De Leon and Nolan Early. That made it 11-0. Riley Moore grounded out to end the inning. Wild Things got a run in the bottom of the 6th, and our score now stands 11-1 with Edison Sanchez digging in to lead off the 7th against Colin Stanley. Stanley has his sign, the pitch, and Sanchez grounded to third. Ricky Rodriguez will backhand, throw to first, and it's in time for out number 1. 1 pitch, 1 away for Colin Stanley here in the top of the 7th, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Francisco Rosario. Rosario so far 0 for 1, popped out in the 2nd, also walked in the 4th, and walked in inning number 6. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. 11-1, Southern Illinois leading this one. Kyle Tinius was up and warming in the Miners bullpen last inning. He has since sat down, so we'll see if Jarrett Miller is allowed to come out for the 7th. Stanley looks in, has his sign. Here's the pitch, and that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Francisco Rosario. For Colin Stanley, 19 strikeouts, 9 walks in 24 innings of work, so pretty good strikeout number with those 19, and also those 9 walks in 24 innings. The 1-0, and that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and no strikes. More action in the Wild Things bullpen. Sam Agnew-Wieland is up and warming in the Wild Things bullpen. 2 balls, no strikes, 1 man out. Stanley has his sign. He's set in the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. Count goes to 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike, and 1 man out here in the top of the 7th. 11-1, Southern Illinois leading this one. Stanley has his sign. He's set in the 2-1. And that one's high for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Francisco Rosario facing Colin Stanley. Stanley looking in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 3-1. And that one's a called strike, and the count will go full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count on Rosario. Aaron Gates, the on-deck man for the Southern Illinois Miners. Colin Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 3-2. And this one fouled back to the screen. Count will remain 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count here on Francisco Rosario, the number 9 hitter of the Miners order. Facing off against Colin Stanley. This Wild Things bullpen has been very good this season. Ashton Parrott in his debut, however, gave up 4 runs in 1 2/3 innings. Colin Stanley so far scoreless in a third of an inning. Stanley looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 3-2. And this one's a called strike 3. Francisco Rosario strikes out, and that's out number 2 here in the top of the 7th. Stanley's first strikeout of the night, and that'll bring up the center fielder, Aaron Gates. Gates so far in the day 0 for 3, flew out in the first, walked and scored a run in the second, flew out in the fourth, and grounded out in inning number 6. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th, and Aaron Gates at the plate. Colin Stanley looking in to Kyle Pollock. Stanley has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And that one's on the outside corner for a strike, no balls and a strike. And actually, there's been a change defensively. Justin Fox into the game as the catcher. Fox's first appearance behind the plate. Stanley set and the 0-1. And this one fouled off back to the screen. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. So Justin Fox making his first appearance behind the plate for the Wild Things this season. We've seen Fox at second base and at shortstop into the game now behind the plate for the Wild Things. Colin Stanley looking in, has his sign, he's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And this ball popped up at second base. Jamadrick Magruder will handle it, and he'll make the catch for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Southern Illinois Miners here in the 7th. And after 6.5, the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 1. We're going to send you down to the field now for the 7th inning stretch. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 7th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11 and your Washington Wild Things 1. Last inning for the Wild Things, they scored their first run of the game as Jamadrick Magruder walked to start things, then Ricky Rodriguez hit into a fielder's choice. Chris Grayson did a 2-base error, so there were runners at second and third with 1 man out, and Dave Popkins came through with an RBI single. Logan Uxa would strike out and Grant Fink would pop out to end the inning. Yezzo to the plate right now against Jarrett Miller out there for his 7th inning of work. Miller set in the pitch, and Yezzo takes this one for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. It'll be Yezzo, Fox, and Wobrock. Justin Fox entered the game as the catcher last inning. Jarrett Miller has his sign. He's set in the pitch. And Yezzo lines this one foul. Count will go to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count on Jimmy Yezzo. Kids Day here at Consol Energy Park. All kids will be running the bases after the game here this evening. Miller has his sign. He's set and the 0-1. And Yezzo takes this one inside for a ball, and the count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo, the first baseman today for your Washington Wild Things. Justin Fox on deck, the catcher, as he entered the game, replacing Kyle Pollock. Miller has his sign, the 1-1, and this one swung on and missed. As actually 1-2, the throw down to first, and that'll complete the strikeout. Strikeout and a 2-3 putout, and there's 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. That'll bring up the catcher, Justin Fox. Fox entered the game as the catcher last inning. Jarrett Miller pitching to Justin Fox. Fox entered the game last inning as the catcher for the Wild Things. Southern Illinois leads this one 11-1 over your Washington Wild Things. Miller looks in, has his sign, the pitch, and Justin Fox takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count here on Justin Fox. Miller has his sign. He's set in the 1-0. And this one swung on a miss, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. Justin Fox enters this game, currently hitting .109, no home runs, and 2 RBIs, making his first appearance for the Wild Things in over a week. Here's the 1-1, and Fox lines this one down the right field line, foul, and the count will go to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and the Wild Things catcher, Justin Fox. Sam Agnew-Wheeling continues to throw on the Wild Things bullpen, so we'll see if he comes in inning number 8. Miller looks in, has his sign. Here's the 1-2. And Fox grounded up the middle. Rosario giving the chase. A diving stop. Throw to first. And Fox is able to beat it out. An infield single for Justin Fox as he reaches here with 1 man out. He's on base, and that'll bring up the shortstop, Austin Wobrock. Wobrock so far 1 for 2, singled in the 3rd inning, and hit into a 5-3 double play in inning number 5. Runner at first, Justin Fox. Fox newly entered into the game as he came in to catch for the Wild Things. Wobrock at the plate now. 1 out, bottom of the 7th, 11-1. Southern Illinois leads this one. Jarrett Miller looking in, has his sign, checks Fox at first, and the pitch. And Wobrock lines this one into left field, and that's a base hit. Back-to-back singles now have runners at first and second for your Wild Things with 1 man out, and that'll bring to the plate Jamadrick Magruder. Magruder on the day, currently 0 for 1, grounded out in the 1st, hit a sac bunt in the 3rd, and walked in inning number 6. Kyle Tinius back up and warming in the Southern Illinois bullpen. Southern Illinois leading 11-1 here in the bottom of the 7th. Wild Things runners at first and second, and 1 man out. Miller looking in, has his sign, he's set, checks Fox, and the pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on Jamadrick Magruder. Bottom of the 7th, 11-1. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Miller looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 1-0. And this one hit the left field. Going back on it is Kennedy to the track. And this one's off the wall. Fox coming around 3rd. He will score. Wobrock will be held at 3rd. It's an RBI double for Magruder. Now Wobrock caught in a rundown. Wobrock will be tagged out at home. Magruder moving out to 3rd on the play. It's a triple for Jamadrick Magruder. Another run comes in, and now it's 11-2. Justin Fox scores. Austin Wobrock thrown out at the plate as he got in a rundown. So there are now 2 outs. 11-2 Southern Illinois leads. And that'll bring up the 3rd baseman, Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez so far is currently 0 for 3. Flew out in the 1st, struck out in the 3rd, and reached on a fielder's choice in inning number 6. 11-2 the score. That'll bring out a visit from the pitching coach. And Jarrett Miller has struggled these last 2 innings, giving up a run in each inning against these Washington Wild Things. Still a 9-run lead for Southern Illinois as they lead 11-2 over your Wild Things. But the Wild Things showing some fight, trying to fight back in this one with 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. They scored runs in the 6th and 7th innings. And we'll see if they can string together a few more hits and hopefully get back into this game. 11-2 your current score here in the bottom of the 7th. And up to the plate comes Ricky Rodriguez. Runner at third. And 2 men out. Jamadrick Magruder standing over there at third base after his triple. Austin Wobrock tagged out trying to score. Justin Fox came around to score. So Jamadrick Magruder at third. 2 outs. And Ricky Rodriguez at the plate. Jarrett Miller looking in. Miller has his sign. He's set. And the pitch. And this one hit foul back to the screen. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Jamadrick Magruder standing over there at third base. No balls, 1 strike here on Ricky Rodriguez. Rodriguez, an all-star third baseman for your Washington Wild Things. Miller has his sign. He's set in the 0-1. And this one softly hit down the right field line, and it'll land in a fair ball. Jamadrick Magruder scores. Rodriguez to second. He's thinking 3. Here comes the throw. It won't be there. An RBI triple for Ricky Rodriguez, and it's now 11-3 as Jamadrick Magruder scores. Ricky Rodriguez, his 21st RBI of the season. Wild Things fighting back, 11-3. Now down by 8 to these Southern Illinois Miners. Kyle Tinney is still warming in the bullpen, and that'll bring Mike Pinto to the mound, and we will have a pitching change. We're going to take a break here on the MSA Sports Network. We'll be right back for coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uxra, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Currently in the bottom of the 7th, Southern Illinois leading this one 11-3. Pitching change for the Southern Illinois Miners. As coming on in this one is Kyle Tinius. Tinius enters this one with a record of 2-0, a 3.06 ERA. Is appearing in his 17th game. Has thrown 14 2/3 innings, giving up 5 runs, all earned on 15 hits, 7 strikeouts, and 7 walks on the day. Wild Things have scored 2 in the inning and have cut the lead to 11-3. Chris Grayson coming to the plate. Back-to-back RBI triples for the Wild Things. Tinius has his sign. He's set, checks third in the pitch. And Grayson takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Chris Grayson. Grayson, the center fielder for your Wild Things. Tinius looks in to his catcher, Riley Moore. Tinius has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1. And Grayson takes this one low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. 2 men out here in the bottom of the 7th. 11-3. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Tinius looks in. Has his sign. Checks Rodriguez at third. And the 1-1. And Grayson takes this one high for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Wild Things have scored 2 in this inning. Scored 1 in the 6th. As they're looking to fight back here against Southern Illinois. Tinius has his sign. He's set. Checks third. And the 2-1. And this one low for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here. 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th. Kyle Tinius trying to avoid walking the first man he faces here. Tinius has his sign. He's set. And the 3-1. And Grayson to center field. Aaron Gates coming in on it, and he's not going to make the catch. Ricky Rodriguez will score. It's an RBI single for Chris Grayson. And hey, look at your Wild Things. It's now 11-4. The third run to score in this inning. Lead cut to 7, and that'll bring Dave Popkins to the plate. And that closes the book on starter Jared Miller. Miller officially goes 6 2/3. Gives up 4 runs, all earned on 9 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts through 93 pitches in his outing. Popkins to the plate. Popkins so far is 2 for 2, walked, doubled, and singled in this one. Tinius has his sign. Here's the pitch. And Popkins takes this one for a strike at the letters. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count, 11-4. Southern Illinois now leading over your Wild Things. Wild Things trying to fight back. Chris Grayson over there at first base. Tinius has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1. And this one swung on a miss. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. Time currently just past 8:11 p.m. Eastern Time. And 811 wants to remind you to call 811 before you dig. Kyle Tinius looking in to Riley Moore. Tinius has his sign and the 0-2. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on Dave Popkins. Popkins out in right field. Chris Grayson standing at first base with 2 men out. Here in the bottom of the 7th, 3 runs in for the Wild Things. Tinius has his sign, the 1-2. And Popkins to left field. Going back on it is Kennedy. He takes a couple steps back. Now he'll camp under it and make the catch for out number 3. But the Wild Things do get 3 runs in the inning on 4 hits, no errors, and a man left. After 7 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 11 and your Washington Wild Things 4. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going into the top of the 8th in the score. Southern Illinois 11 and your Washington Wild Things 4. Pitching change for the Wild Things is now coming on is right-hander Sam Agnew-Wheeland. Agnew-Wheeland enters this one with a record of 2-0, 1 save on the year, a .279 ERA. Appearing in his 7th game, has made 2 starts this year, has thrown 19 1/3 innings of work, giving up 6 runs, all earned on 21 hits, 11 strikeouts, and 7 walks for Agnew-Wheeland on the year. Final line for Colin Stanley. Stanley went 1 1/3, gave up no runs, no earned on 1 hit, no walks, and 1 strikeout through 16 pitches in his outing. So Agnew-Wheeland on the mound. Due up to face him here in the top of the 8th. Shane Kennedy, Craig Massey, and Alex De Leon, 2, 3, and 4, facing off against Agnew-Wheeland. Justin Fox, as we said, entered the game last inning behind the plate. Fox out to talk to Agnew-Wheeland right before his outing happens. As Kennedy comes to the plate, Kennedy so far today 1 for 4. Flew out in the first, singled and scored a run in the second, struck out in the 4th, and grounded out in inning number 6. Kennedy stepping in, nobody out, top of the 8th, 11-4 the score between your Washington Wild Things and the Southern Illinois Miners. Miners leading this one as they have taken the first 2 games of this series, won Friday night by a score of 4-2 and won last night by a score of 4-3, looking for the sweep today. Sam Agnew-Wheeland looks in. Agnew-Wheeland has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Shane Kennedy. Kennedy, the leadoff man here in the 8th. Agnew Whelan's 0-1. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball, 1 strike. Agnew Whelan has made 2 starts this year. He's actually the Wild Things scheduled starter for Friday when they will be in Southern Illinois. Here's the 1-1. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count. Agnew Whelan, 7 walks in 19 1/3 innings pitched. Also 11 strikeouts in that same span. Agnew Whelan has his sign, the 2-1. And that one's low for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Shane Kennedy. It's getting near 8:30 here, Eastern time. Agnew Whelan set the 3-1. And this one grounded to second. Jamadric Magruder, a diving attempt, but it's into center field for a base hit. Kennedy a wide turnaround first, but he will stay there, and it's a leadoff single to start things in the top of the 8th. That'll bring up the second baseman, Craig Massey. Massey so far 3 for 4, struck out in the first, RBI single in the second, RBI triple in the fourth, and an RBI single and scored a run in the 6th, driven in 3 of his team's 11 runs, and actually he will be pinch hit for, as now coming into the game as the pinch hitter is Julius Gaines. So Julius Gaines pinch hitting for Craig Massey here in the 8th inning. Gaines stepping in. He will be the new second baseman as Massey ends the day going 3 for 4. Agnew Whelan's pitch, and that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. Gaines enters this one. Currently hitting .270, 1 home run, 11 RBIs. Agnew Whelan looks over to first. Has his sign. He's set, and the 0-1. And Gaines takes this one for a strike as well. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Julius Gaines pinch hitting here for Craig Massey in the top of the 8th. 11-4, the Southern Illinois Miners lead your Washington Wild Things. Shane Kennedy takes his lead from first. Agnew Whelan has his sign, the 0-2, and this one's fouled off. Count will remain, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count, nobody out. Here in the top of the 8th, 11-4, Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Sam Agnew Whelan looking into Justin Fox. Agnew Whelan has his sign. He's set. And the 0-2 pitch. And this one grounded to second. Magruder has it. The second for 1 onto first. And it's in time for a 4-6-3 double play. And that cleans up the inning for Agnew Whelan. Now 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. And that'll bring up the first baseman, Alex DeLeon. DeLeon currently is 0 for 2. Walked and scored a run in the second, also popped out in the second, struck out in the fourth, and walked and scored a run in inning number 6. Alex DeLeon stepping in against Sam Agnew Whelan. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. 11-4, Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things here from Consol Energy Park. Sam Agnew Whelan looking in. Has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And this one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Alex DeLeon. Agnew Whelan allowed a hit to start the inning and then got the big double play to help erase that leadoff base runner. Agnew Whelan's 0-1, and this one popped up right side in foul territory. Yezzo gives it a look, but it'll end up into the stands and foul. Count goes to 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes here on Alex DeLeon. Sam Agnew Whelan looking for a scoreless 8th inning here. He is the scheduled starter for Friday night against Southern Illinois in Southern Illinois. Agnew Whelan looks in, has his sign, and the 0-2 pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. Couldn't get DeLeon to chase, and the count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Southern Illinois first baseman. 11-4. Southern Illinois leading over your Wild Things. Agnew Whelan looking in to Justin Fox. Has his sign. Here's the 1-2. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count. Agnew Whelan has made 2 starts on the season, as we said. Mostly appeared out of the bullpen. Has been the 5th starter when the team has needed it. Agnew Whelan set in the 2-2. And this one hit foul back to the screen. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 here on Alex DeLeon. 11-4. Southern Illinois leads this one in the top of the 8th inning. Game tonight started at 6:05 because of Faith and Freedom Night. There were some speeches prior to the game that pushed the 5:05 start back an hour. Agnew Whelan has his sign and the 2-2 pitch. And that one's outside, ball 3. Count goes full here to Alex De Leon. On deck hitter Nolan Early if De Leon should reach base. Agnew Whelan has his sign and the 3-2 pitch. And this one grounded up the middle, and that'll be a base hit. 2-out single for Alex De Leon. He reaches base with 2 outs, and that'll bring up the right fielder Nolan Early. Early so far, 1 for 4. Popped out in the second, grounded out in the third, grounded out in the fifth, and an RBI single and would score a run in inning number 6. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, 11-4. Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Runner at first, Alex De Leon. Second hit of the inning allowed by Sam Agnew Whelan. And now we're going to have another pinch hitter as Brendan O'Brien comes in to bat for Nolan Early. Brendan O'Brien for Nolan Early. Agnew Whelan has his sign, the pitch, and that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Brendan O'Brien. We've seen O'Brien in all 3 games. The one game came in as a defensive replacement, was a pinch runner last night. Now coming into pinch hit here in the 8th. Agnew Whelan's 0-1. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes. O'Brien enters this game hitting 184, no home runs, and 4 RBIs. As we said, has appeared in all 3 games for the Southern Illinois Miners against the Wild Things, but his first at-bat in the series here. Agnew Whelan has his sign, the 0-2. And that one swung on and missed. O'Brien strikes out, and that will end the inning. No runs in the inning on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. After 7.5, the score, Southern Illinois 11, and your Washington Wild Things 4. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get to sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
When looking to replace your athletic field, choose ProGrass, first in turf. ProGrass has installed over 500 fields in the U.S. Getting the best artificial turf for your field depends upon both the product and the partner you choose. That's why architects, athletic directors, and players choose the ProGrass Performance System. ProGrass maintains an active presence in the field turf industry as members of the Sports Turf Management Association and the American Sports Builder Association, and is proud to be recognized as a FIFA preferred manufacturer. Call ProGrass today at 866-270-6003 or visit them on the web at www.progressturf.com. ProGrass, first in turf.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the bottom of the 8th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 4. New pitcher for the Southern Illinois Miners is Evan Mott will come on, the right-hander. Mott enters this one with a record of 1-1, 1 save on the season, a .397 ERA, appearing in his 26th game, has thrown 22 2/3 innings of work, giving up 11 runs, 10 earned on 22 hits, 17 strikeouts, and 7 walks in 22 2/3 innings of work. The final line for Kyle Tinius. Tinius goes a third, does not give up a run on 1 hit, and threw 9 pitches in his outing. Due up to face Mott here in the 8th will be Logan Uxa, Grant Fink, and Jimmy Yezzo, the 5, 6, and 7 men in the Wild Things order. And now more action in the Wild Things bullpen. Andrew Wick warming up out there. So Evan Mott, the third pitcher used today for the Southern Illinois Miners. Mott looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch to Uxa. And Uxa takes this one for a strike, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Logan Uxa. Evan Mott, the second time we've seen him in this series, as we saw him in Game 1 of this series. Evan Mott in Game 1 ended up going an inning, not giving up a run and striking out a batter. Mott set, here's the 0-1, and Uxa a swing and a miss, no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Logan Uxa. Nobody out in the bottom of the 8th. 11-4, Southern Illinois leading. Wild Things trying to fight back. Mott looks in, has his sign, he's set, and the 0-2 pitch. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Way outside as Uxa lays off. It's almost in the middle of the right-handed batter's box. Uxa batting from the left side. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Nobody out. Evan Mott looks in. Mott has his sign. He's set. And the 1-2 pitch. And this one swung on and missed. Uxa strikes out. And that's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 8th. That'll bring up the left fielder, Grant Fink. Fink so far in the day 0 for 3, flew out in the 2nd, grounded out in the 5th, and popped out in inning number 6. 1 out, bottom of the 8th. Fink at the plate, 11 runs, 13 hits, 1 error for the Miners, 4 runs, 10 hits, and no errors for your Washington Wild Things. Mott has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch to Fink. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. Grant Fink, a product of the Cleveland Indians organization, played in single A ball last year for the Indians before joining the Wild Things this season. His 4th home run of the year in last night's ball game puts him good for 4th on the team in that category. Mott set the 0-1, and Fink takes this one for a ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1-1 the count on the Wild Things left fielder. Grant Fink talked to him before the game. Says he's excited to see how these next couple of weeks play out for your Wild Things. They have a very good lineup, do the Wild Things. 4 runs scored today. Just unfortunately the struggles of their starting pitcher, Chase Cunningham, not helping him in this one. The 1-1, and that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Grant Fink. 11-4, Southern Illinois leads this one. Evan Mott, the setup man for the Southern Illinois Miners here in the 8th. Mott has his sign. He's set, and the 2-1. And that one's low for a ball, so Mott falling behind Grant Fink. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count. Grant Fink, the left fielder for the Wild Things today. Left field, as we've been saying, has been a revolving door for the Wild Things. Fink, heck, also out there before Grayson took over center field. Grayson was out there a couple of games. Mott has his sign, the 3-1. And Fink checks his swing, and did he go around? No, says the field umpire, so that'll be ball 4. A 1-out walk, and there's a man on here in the bottom of the 8th for the Wild Things with 1 out, and that'll bring up the first baseman, Jimmy Yezzo. Yezzo so far 1 for 3, grounded out in the 2nd, singled in the 5th, and struck out in inning number 7. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th, 11-4. Southern Illinois leading your Wild Things. Wild Things scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th, a run in the bottom of the 6th as well, as they've been trying to fight back here against this Southern Illinois Miners pitching staff. Mott has his sign, the pitch, and Yezzo ground ball to the right side, and it's a base hit. The runners at 1st and 2nd now with 1 man out for your Wild Things, and that'll bring to the plate the catcher, Justin Fox. Fox so far in this one is 1 for 1, singled and scored a run his last time up. Entered the game in inning number 6 as the catcher helped relieve Kyle Pollock. Pollock caught 6 innings of this game. Now, Justin Fox, his first appearance behind the plate for your Wild Things, coming up with an opportunity, runners at 1st and 2nd, and 1 man out. 11-4, Southern Illinois leading over your Wild Things. Bottom of the 8th. Evan Mott into the game here in the 8th inning. Mott looks in, has his sign, checks Fink at 2nd, and the pitch. And Fox takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. Justin Fox on the year currently has 2 RBIs on the season. Was the starting second baseman for the Wild Things before Jamadrick Magruder was signed. Mott has his sign in the 0-1. And Fox fouls this one back. Count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count. Fox singled and scored his first time up. Looking to come through with a man in scoring position and another on base. Facing Evan Mott. Mott looking for a scoreless 8th inning walk and a hit here with 1 out. Mott has his sign. He's set. And the 0-2. And Fox fouls this one away, so the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 here on Justin Fox, behind the plate for the first time for the Washington Wild Things. Fox caught a little bit in college, so he is in the game to catch here for the Wild Things. No balls, 2 strikes. Mott looking in, has his sign, checks 2nd, and the 0-2. And a swing and a miss by Fox. He strikes out, and that is out number 2. 2 outs, still runners at 1st and 2nd. Grant Fink stands at 2nd after he walked, and Jimmy Yezzo's single has him at first base. That brings up the shortstop, Austin Wolbrock. Wolbrock 2 for 3 today, singled in the 3rd, hit into a double play in the 5th, and singled in inning number 7. Bottom of the 8th, 2 outs, 11-4. Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Evan Mott looking in. Mott has his sign. He's set. Checks second. And the pitch. And Wobrock takes this one for a strike on the outside corner. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count. Wobrock in his second year with the Wild Things, standing in at 6 foot 185 from Costa Mesa, California. Last year was second on the Wild Things team in RBIs, where he had 31. Dave Popkins led last year's squad with 46. Mott has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And that one's outside for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Austin Wobrock. Grant Fink stands at second. Jimmy Yezzo over there at first base with 2 outs, and the Wild Things down 11-4. Evan Mott looking in to Riley Moore. Mott shakes off the first sign. Now has one he wants. He's set. And the 1-1. And Wobrock takes this one for a strike, this time on the inside corner, and the count goes to 1-2. 1 ball, 2 strikes, and 2 men out. 4 runs, 11 hits for your Wild Things. 11 runs on 13 hits for the Southern Illinois Miners. The Wild Things today have left a total of 5 men on base through 7 innings of play. Mott has his sign. He's set. And the 1-2. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count here on Austin Wobrock. It's Evan Mott's first inning of relief, and kind of struggling here as he walked Grant Fink after striking out Popkins. Then Yezzo singled, and Justin Fox struck out. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 men out. Andrew Wick warm and ready for the 9th. And now time is called behind the plate as a ball skipped by the Wild Things bullpen catcher. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. It's Austin Wobrock, the number 9 hitter at the plate. Bottom of the 8th, 11-4, Southern Illinois leading this one. Evan Mott, we saw him on Friday night through a scoreless inning of work. While striking out 1, retired all 3 Wild Things he faced in that Friday night contest. Mott looks in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 2-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss, and the bat flies out of Wobrock's hands. So Wobrock strikes out, and that will end the inning. No runs in the inning on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left on base. And after 8 innings of play, the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 4. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network. Your Wild Things are back and are chasing a playoff spot here in the second half as their homestand continues July 20th and 21st when the Wild Things welcome in the River City Rascals. The series gets started on Wednesday night, July 20th at 6:05, first pitch in the form of a doubleheader. It's a bucket hat night. For $15, you can get a reserve seat ticket and a bucket hat. Game 2 of the series will start about a half hour following the conclusion of Game 1. Then the series continues July 21st at 7:05 p.m. for Thirsty Thursday when the Wild Things wrap up their 3-game series with the Rascals. All beer and soda will be just $1 on Thursday. Come out to Consol Energy Park and support your Frontier League Week 9 Player of the Week, Logan Uxra, and the rest of the Washington Wild Things. For tickets, call 866-456-WILD or go to www.washingtonwildthings.com. Washington Wild Things Baseball, let's get wild. We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things Baseball, going to the top of the 9th in the score. The Southern Illinois Miners 11, your Washington Wild Things 4. Sam Agnew-Whelan back out there for his 2nd inning of work through a scoreless inning of work in inning number 8. Now back out here for the 9th with Andrew Wick still in the bullpen for the Wild Things. Last inning for the Miners, Shane Kennedy singled to start things. Then a double play by Julius Gaines, 4-6-3. Alex De Leon singled, and Brendan O'Brien struck out to end the inning. Due up this inning, Steve Marino, Riley Moore, and Edison Sanchez, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters against Sam Agnew-Whelan. Marino making his way to the plate so far 4 for 4 today. Singled and scored in the 2nd, singled in the 3rd, singled in the 5th, and then a 2 RBI double in his last at-bat. Agnew-Whelan looking in, has his sign, he's set, here's the pitch. And that one's a called strike on the outside corner, no balls and a strike. 0-1 the count here on Steve Marino, the captain of the Southern Illinois Miners, 4 hits today. Agnew Whelan set, and here's the 0-1. And that one's a called strike as well. No balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Steve Marino. Marino a career high in home runs and RBIs. And now time is called as home plate umpire Ron Whitting Sr. dusting off home plate. As he's talking to Steve Marino. Marino started barking at him after that last call. And now Marino steps back in. No balls, 2 strikes, nobody out, top of the 9th. Agnew Whelan has his sign, the 0-2. And Marino takes this one outside for a ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 the count on the third baseman for Southern Illinois. It's going to be Marino, Moore, and Sanchez due up here in this inning. Agnew Whelan has his sign and the 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. And that one's high for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2-2 the count here on Steve Marino. Nobody out, top of the 9th. Agnew Whelan has his sign. Here's the 2-2. And this one hit the center field. Chris Grayson going back on it to the track, and he'll make the running catch for out number 1. A nice running play there by Chris Grayson. 1 man retired here in the top of the 9th, and that'll bring up the catcher, Riley Moore. Moore so far 1 for 4, singled and scored a run in the 2nd, flew out in the 3rd, struck out in the 5th, and grounded out in inning number 6. Agnew Whelan on the mound facing Riley Moore. Agnew Whelan in for his 2nd inning of work. 1 out. Agnew Whelan has his sign. Here's the pitch. And that one's in there for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Southern Illinois catcher. Southern Illinois leads by 7 here. 11-4 in the top of the 9th. Agnew Whelan looks in, has his sign. Here's the 0-1. And Moore a swing and a miss, and the count goes to no balls and 2 strikes. 0-2 the count here on Riley Moore. 1 out, top of the 9th. Good outing so far for Sam Agnew Whelan. Just the 2 hits in his first scoreless inning, and then got the fly out to start the 9th. Agnew Whelan has his sign. He's set, and the 0-2 pitch. And that one is just low for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 2 strikes. 1-2 the count here on Riley Moore. 1 out, top of the 9th. Moore the primary catcher since Tony DeMello is on the disabled list. Agnew Whelan has his sign. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that one is just outside for a ball. Count goes even at 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 1 man out. Agnew Whelan, right-handed pitcher, facing off against Riley Moore, the left-handed batter. Whelan looks in, has his sign, and the 2-2. And this ball lined towards short. Wobrock coming on, and he'll make the catch. That is out number 2. 2 up, 2 down here in the 9th for Southern Illinois, and that'll bring up the designated hitter, Edison Sanchez. Sanchez so far 1 for 4, singled and scored a run in the 2nd. Also flew out in the 3rd, popped out in the 5th, and grounded out in inning number 7. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. 11-4, Southern Illinois leading over your Washington Wild Things. Agnew Whelan has his sign. Here's the pitch, and that one's in there for a strike at the knees. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on Edison Sanchez. Sanchez a DH today for the Southern Illinois Miners. Agnew Whelan looks in. Here's the 0-1. And that one's outside for a ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count here on Edison Sanchez. And Francisco Rosario, the only one of the starting 9 who does not have a hit today. The 1-1, and that one's outside for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. Excuse me, Rosario and Aaron Gates, the only 2 in the Miners lineup who do not have a hit in this ball game, who started the game. Agnew Whelan has his sign. He's set, and the 2-1. And that one's high for a ball. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Edison Sanchez. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. 11-4, Southern Illinois leads over your Washington Wild Things. Agnew Whelan looks in. Has his sign from Justin Fox. Here's the 3-1. And swung on a miss. Count goes full to 3-2. Francisco Rosario, the on-deck man, if Edison Sanchez should reach. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. Southern Illinois leading 11-4. Whelan has his sign, a 3-2. And this one's fouled off. Count will remain 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count, 2 men out. It's a Sunday Kids Day here at the ballpark. Kids will be running the bases after the game. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Agnew Whelan has his sign, and the pitch. And this one grounded towards second. Magruder has it. He'll throw on to first, and that is in time for out number 3. 1-2-3 go the Miners here in the 9th. On to the bottom of the 9th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 4. You're listening to Washington Wild Things baseball right here on the MSA Sports Network.
AAA members enjoy 24/7 roadside assistance, exclusive member-only discounts, expert travel assistance, free identity theft protection, and much more. With that AAA card in your wallet or purse, you have the peace of mind, safety, and security that only AAA membership can provide. Already a member? Don't forget to renew. Not a member? Join AAA today at any nearby office or online at AAA.com. AAA, we're always with you.
How does a 120-year-old company like Henderson Brothers keep up in a world that changes every minute, that keeps throwing curveballs, that flaunts new technology, that demands responsiveness? The answer is simple. With expertise. We insure the most successful corporations in the area, and they in turn recommend us. And for that, we're grateful. Henderson Brothers. Expect an expert.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, going to the bottom of the 9th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11 and the Washington Wild Things 4. Pitching change for the Southern Illinois Miners. On the mound now is reliever Zach Cooper. We saw Cooper on Friday night. Cooper's numbers on the season, 0-1, a .952 ERA, does have 2 saves on the year. Appearing in his 9th game, has thrown 5 2/3 innings of work, giving up 6 runs, all earned on 8 hits, 8 walks, and 5 strikeouts in those 5 2/3 innings of work. The final line for reliever Evan Mott. Mott went an inning, did not give up a run on 1 hit, walked 1, and struck out 3, throwing 19 pitches in his outing. Due up here in the bottom of the 9th for your Wild Things. 1-2-3, Jamadric Magruder, Ricky Rodriguez, and Chris Grayson facing off against Zach Cooper. The Wild Things down by 7. Need 7 to tie, 8 to win here in the bottom of the 9th. Magruder making his way to the plate. Magruder so far is 1 for 2. Grounded out in the first, sack bunt in the third, walked in the 6th, and hit an RBI triple and scored a run in the 7th inning. Cooper looking in to Riley Moore. Cooper has his sign. He's set, and the pitch. And Magruder to right field and deep. Going back on it to the wall, and this ball is gone! Exit stage right, Jamadric Magruder's first Wild Things home run, and the score now 11-5. Jamadric Magruder exits stage right, and when you need an attorney to hit one out of the park for you, yo Keith. That home run brought to you by Keith Owen Campbell, attorney at law. Magruder takes the first pitch he sees in the bottom of the 9th deep, and it's now 11-5. Ricky Rodriguez coming to the plate. Rodriguez so far 1 for 4. A fly-out, strikeout, fielder's choice, and scored a run and an RBI triple. The pitch, and that one's low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. 11-5 now Southern Illinois leads. Solo home run by Jamadric Magruder. His first is a Wild Thing. Gets the Wild Things another run here in the 9th. Cooper has his sign. He's set. The 1-0. And Rodriguez fouls this one off. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count on Ricky Rodriguez. 11-5 the score. Wild Things now down by 6 here in the bottom of the 9th. Zach Cooper looking in. Cooper has his sign. He's set. And the 1-1. And that one's inside for a ball. Count goes to 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 here on Ricky Rodriguez. Nobody out. Bottom of the 9th. A run in on the Jamadric Magruder home run. Cooper has his sign. He's set. And the 2-1. That one's high ball 3. 3 balls and a strike. 3-1 the count here on Ricky Rodriguez. 11-5. Southern Illinois leads this one. As Zach Cooper gives up the leadoff home run to Jamadric Magruder. And now a 3-1 count to Ricky Rodriguez. Cooper looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the 3-1. Swing and a miss. Count goes full to 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 the count here on Ricky Rodriguez. Nobody out, bottom of the 9th. A run in on the Magruder home run. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Here's Cooper's pitch. Swing and a miss. Rodriguez strikes out. There's 1 away here in the bottom of the 9th. 1 out, bottom of the 9th. That'll bring up the center fielder, Chris Grayson. Grayson so far, 1 for 4. Grounded out in the first, grounded out in the fourth. Reached on a 2-base error in the 6th and an RBI single in the 7th inning. 11-5 the score here between the Southern Illinois Miners and your Washington Wild Things. 1 out, bottom of the 9th. Southern Illinois leading this one. Grayson at the plate. Zach Cooper gave up the leadoff home run. Jamadrick Magruder came back and struck out Ricky Rodriguez. Cooper has his sign, the pitch, and Grayson takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count on the Wild Things center fielder, Chris Grayson. Cooper looks in. He's set, and the 1-0 on the way. And Grayson a swing and a miss, and the count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. Chris Grayson joining the Wild Things 2 weeks ago. Signed the same day Ashton Parrott was signed. And has since taken over the center field role. Jamal Austin retiring. Austin started the season as the center fielder. The 1-1, and that one's inside for a ball. 2 balls and a strike. 2-1 the count here on Chris Grayson. Grayson standing in there at 6 foot 215 from Monroe, Los Angeles. Came to the Wild Things from the Sioux Falls Canaries. Zach Cooper looking in. Has his sign. He's set. And the 2-1. And this one lined into left field. That's a base hit for Grayson. A 1-out single gives the Wild Things a base runner here. And that'll bring up the right fielder, Dave Popkins. Popkins so far on the day, 2 for 3. Walked in the 2nd, doubled in the 4th, RBI single in the 6th, and flew out in inning number 7. Popkins to the plate. Chris Grayson over there at first. 11-5. Southern Illinois leads this one. Cooper looking in. Has his sign. He's set. And the pitch. And Popkins takes this one low for a ball. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-0 the count. Zach Cooper coming in, allowing the leadoff home run. Chris DeBoo warming up in the Southern Illinois bullpen. Cooper trying to get out of this 9th inning. Cooper set. Checks Grayson at first in the 1-0. And Popkins to right field and deep. Exit stage right. Dave Popkins with authority. His 8th home run of the year. Grayson will come in to score. It's a 2-run shot. And the score now 11-7 as your Wild Things fighting back. It's Popkins' 8th home run of the year. And when you need an attorney to hit one out of the park for you, yo, Keith. That home run brought to you by Keith Owen Campbell, attorney at law. And now the score 11-7. Wild Things down by 4, and that brings up Logan Uxa. Uxa so far in this one is currently 0 for 4, hitting to a fielder's choice, hitting to a double play, and struck out twice. And that'll bring manager Mike Pinto out of the dugout, and there'll be a call to the pen. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball.
Hi, this is Hines Ward. If you're a high school sports fan, the place to go all year round is the MSA Sports Network. Log on every day to www.msasports.net for the schedules, the scores, the standings, the rankings, and of course, all of the broadcasts includes exclusive Whitfield playoffs and championship action. Anytime, anywhere, always there, the MSA Sports Network.
PA Leadership Charter School is a proud sponsor of the Washington Wild Things. PALCS is a tuition-free online public school for K-12 students. PALCS can help your child hit a home run in their education through flexibility, student-to-teacher interaction, and socialization opportunities. Go to PALCS.org for more information. Go Wild Things!
PA Leadership Charter School. Lead, don't follow.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball, currently in the bottom of the 9th, and the score, Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 7. Pitching change for the Miners as Chris DeBoo comes into this one. DeBoo, no record 3 saves on the year, a 1.55 ERA. Appearing in his 19th game, has thrown 17 1/3 innings, giving up 3 runs, all earned on 16 hits, 5 walks, and 11 strikeouts on the season. Final line for Zach Cooper. Cooper went 1/3 of an inning, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 3 hits, no walks, and 1 strikeout. Wild Things making this one interesting. A solo shot by Jamadrick Magruder and a 2-run homer by Dave Popkins have made this score 11-7 here in the bottom of the 9th. We've seen Chris Dabou in each of the first 2 games. Dabou 1/3 of a scoreless inning in game 1 and a scoreless inning in last night's ball game. He'll be facing Logan Uxa. Uxa steps in 0 for 4. See if Uxa can get on base and keep this rally going in the bottom of the 9th. Uxa named your Week 9 Frontier League Player of the Week, stepping up now with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th, 11-7 the score. Dave Popkins just hit a 2-run homer, his 8th. He ties Jimmy Yeso for the team lead. And now Uxa at the plate, facing off against Chris Dabou. Dabou looking in, has his sign, he's set, and the pitch. And Uxa pops this one up. Behind second base, out is Gaines, and Gaines will make the catch. That is out number 2. So 1 pitch, 1 out for Chris Dabou out of the bullpen. And now the final out is Grant Fink. Fink's up now. Fink 0 for 3. Flew out in the 2nd, grounded out in the 5th, popped out in the 6th, and walked in inning number 8. Last chance for the Wild Things. Southern Illinois leads 11-7 over your Wild Things here in this one. Dabou has his sign. He's set. Here's the pitch. And Fink takes this one for a strike. No balls and a strike. 0-1 the count on the Wild Things left fielder. Grant Fink, 11-7 the score. Dabou has his sign. He's set. And the 0-1. That one's in the dirt for a ball. Count goes to 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-1 the count. 2 outs. Bottom of the 9th. Game 3 of this 3-game series. Wild Things trying to avoid being swept. Dabou has his sign. The 1-1. And this one grounded softly to third. Handled by Marino. Throw on to first is in time for out number 3. So the comeback, not enough for the Wild Things. They lose this one by a final score of 11-7. The win going to Jarrett Miller. He improves to 4-2. Loss goes to Chase Cunningham. Cunningham falls to 3-5. Keep it tuned right here to the MSA Sports Network. We'll be right back with the Washington Wild Things postgame show. You've been listening to Washington Wild Things baseball here on the MSA Sports Network.
You just never know how your day is going to go. The same holds true at Penn Station East Coast Subs. For some unsuspecting spuds, they start their day as Idaho potatoes, only to be transformed into hand-hewn fries. Unlucky for them, good for you. However, both your days get better because the fries get to sidle up next to a perfectly grilled Philly cheesesteak. Then, on their way to their final resting place, they get bathed in citric nectar, our signature lemonade. Wherever your day takes you, we recommend Penn Station be one of the stops.
We're back here on the MSA Sports Network's coverage of Washington Wild Things baseball. Final score in this one, Southern Illinois 11 and your Washington Wild Things 7. The win going to Jarrett Miller. Miller improves to 4-2. The loss going to Chase Cunningham. Cunningham falls to 3-5. Scoring recap for you here. The first inning very good for both pitchers as both pitchers retired the side. 1, 2, 3. However, the top of the second, a very bad one for starting pitcher Chase Cunningham. It started out with Alex De Leon walking on 6 pitches. Then Nolan Early popped out. Steve Marino hit a single. There were runners at first and second with 1 out. Riley Moore delivered a bloop single to load the bases with 1 out. Then Edison Sanchez, a bloop single to right. That scored the first run of the ball game as De Leon came around to score, and Southern Illinois took a 1-0 lead. Then Francisco Rosario popped out before Aaron Gates would walk with the bases loaded. That made the score 2-0 Southern Illinois. Then Shane Kennedy came in and delivered a 2 RBI single, scoring both Riley Moore and Edison Sanchez, and that made the score 4-0. Then Aaron Gates came around on a wild pitch. That made it 5-0. Before Craig Massey delivered an RBI single that scored Shane Kennedy and made the score 6-0 before Alex De Leon finally popped out to end the inning. In that second inning, 6 runs came in.
You just never know how your day is going to go.
Sorry about that, technical difficulty. 6 runs on 5 hits in the inning, no errors, and 1 man left on base for Chase Cunningham in that second inning. Then, in the third inning, Cunningham settled down a little bit, facing 4 men. Nolan Early grounded out, Steve Marino singled, Riley Moore flew out, and Edison Sanchez flew out to end that third inning. Then, the Miners would add on in inning number 4 as Francisco Rosario started things off with a walk, and Aaron Gates flew out, and Shane Kennedy struck out. So there were 2 outs and a runner on first before Craig Massey came through with his second RBI of the day, an RBI triple that scored Rosario and made the score 7-0 Southern Illinois. Alex De Leon would strike out to end the inning. Then, in the 6th inning, Southern Illinois added on 4 more runs as Francisco Rosario started things off with a walk. Aaron Gates and Shane Kennedy back-to-back groundouts put a runner at third with 2 outs, and Craig Massey, his third RBI of the day, an RBI single, scored Rosario, made things 8-0. Then a walk to Alex De Leon, had runners at first and second with 2 outs before Nolan Early came through with an RBI single that scored Massey and made the score 9-0. Then that was the end of the line for Ashton Parrott. Parrott was in his Wild Things debut, went 1 2/3, gave up 4 runs, all earned, on 3 hits, 2 walks, and 1 strikeout. Final line for starter Chase Cunningham. Cunningham went 4, gave up 7 all earned on 7 hits, 3 walks, and 3 strikeouts. Colin Stanley came into the game, and the first man he faced, Steve Marino, hit a 2 RBI double, scoring both De Leon and Early, and that made the score 11-0. Riley Moore grounded out to end the inning. Then the Wild Things started their comeback in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jamadric Magruder walked, and Ricky Rodriguez hit into a fielder's choice. Chris Grayson, a 2-base error. There were runners at second and third with 1 out before Dave Popkins drove in the first run of the game with an RBI single. That made the score 11-1. Logan Uxa struck out. Grant Fink popped out to end the inning. Then in the bottom of the 7th, Jimmy Yezzo struck out to start things before Justin Fox singled. Then Austin Wolbrock singled before Jamadric Magruder came through with an RBI triple. Fox scored, made it 11-2. Wolbrock was thrown out at the plate. Then Ricky Rodriguez, an RBI triple of his own, made the score 11-3, and that would end the night for Jarrett Miller. Miller went 6 2/3, gave up 4 runs, all earned on 9 hits, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts through 93 pitches in his outing. Then next man on would be Kyle Tinius, and Chris Grayson would come through with an RBI single that scored Rodriguez, and that made the score 11-4 through 7 innings. Dave Popkins flew out to end the inning. Wild Things in the 9th would try to fight back. Jamadric Magruder, a solo home run to start things, made it 11-5. Then Ricky Rodriguez struck out, Chris Grayson singled, and Dave Popkins delivered a 2-run homer that made the score 11-7. Then on came Chris DeBoo, and he got the final 2 outs. DeBoo got Uxa to pop out, and Fink to ground out to end the inning. So the final score, 11-7, Southern Illinois beating your Washington Wild Things. The win went to Jarrett Miller. He goes to 4-2. The loss to Chase Cunningham. He goes to 3-5. Your Washington Wild Things star of the game going to go to Sam Agnew-Wheeland. Agnew-Wheeland finished out the game, 2 scoreless innings of work, giving up 2 hits, not walking anybody, and striking out 1 through 24 pitches in his outing. So Sam Agnew-Wheeland, your Washington Wild Things star of the game for this one. Next Washington Wild Things broadcast can be heard Wednesday night at 6:05 p.m. First of a doubleheader between the Wild Things and the River City Rascals. So that'll get kicked off at 6:05. Matt Frauden taking the hill for your Wild Things. The starter has not yet been announced for the River City Rascals. But the final score in this one, a Southern Illinois 11, your Washington Wild Things 7. Thanks for listening to the MSA Sports Network, and we hope you tune in Wednesday at 6:05. Have a great night, everybody.